Yesterday.
Tick-tock, time to rock. Clicking
All
it
my
live with a squeaky
troubles
flow.
so
We'll knock you down like a
far
domino. In rehab, they taught me how to sew. Now I'm making sweaters like a seasoned pro ho.
Wait, are we
Hey.
live?
You heard TikTok, time to rock, didn't you?
Oh, now everybody heard me sing the Beatles, which is just embarrassing.
What were you singing?
Yesterday by the
Oh.
Beatles,
Yesterday.
which is very embarrassing because who really listens to the Beatles? Seriously, everybody only listens to them. Ironic, worst band in history, terrible hair. Anyway, what's up, man? How you doing?
I've listed the greatest songwriters of all time. It's interesting. In the top 5, you do have 2 Beatles who are on the top 5 list of the greatest songwriters of all time. But at number 1, we have the Apostate Prophet.
That's true. That is true. I mean, you have to say. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
How many Zoot songs did the Beatles come up with?
0.
0. AP's got like 12 of them.
Yeah. Like 4, but 12. Kind of like the same thing. Yeah.
My wife, like 20 minutes ago, came in the room and was cracking up. I said, "What are you laughing at?" She said she was watching some rant about Muhammad. She said she cracks up now because now on everyone's list is, and then he got gangbanged in the desert. Pretty funny, isn't it? Oh,
It's so funny.
man.
I hear it from random people. Like, hey, dude. Like I was in London when I was at Tommy Robinson's last rally, and then I just see random people at the rally. After the rally is done, and I'm walking away, and crowds are walking around, and somebody's like, "Hey, what's up, man? AP, hey, be careful! Don't walk into the zoot." It's everywhere, man.
Oh yeah. I told you. I think I mentioned before. Someone said that he was in church and his pastor misspoke at some point, and he said zut instead of something else, and he said, then the pastor started giggling, and he was like, "Oh, my pastor knows. My pastor knows." Oh gosh. And we got. We have to narrow it down. We have to narrow it down to which issue we want to popularize. It just helps focusing on like one thing and making it really well known throughout. They worked with the Islamic dilemma. Now everyone's using the Islamic dilemma. It worked with the zut. Now everyone's talking about the zut. So next year we're going to be talking about Muhammad in the Bible. We're going to completely destroy that argument. We're going to keep expanding on the Islamic dilemma. So we're going to keep building on the work that we've done, on the foundations that we have built. But we have to figure out which other issue we want to focus on next year to popularize. Can either be Muhammad in women's clothing. I have a bunch of stuff on that. Can be Muhammad when he climbed down into the grave and did a little hanky-panky with a dead woman. There's the story about Muhammad's toothbrush when the guy later on, they kept his toothbrush, and this guy, to insult Muhammad, said, look, here's what I think of this toothbrush. He grabbed his toothbrush and shoved it up his butt. And then there's all these stories about this dude later giving birth from his butt to like this rat, fish, and something else monster. And then the dude died and stuff. That's not specifically about Muhammad, but it kind of shows how screwed up their sources are.
I'm sure that totally happened. Yeah.
We might have to do some of that stuff. And here's what's interesting. It's the Arabic speaker channels that really bring out some of the wild stuff from their sources, and they'll use it for a while. And then we help it catch on in the English speaking world. But there's also stuff. I've been hearing this for a while. That Muhammad was clearly being abused when he was young by some of the people around him, his uncle and so on. So that's a difficult one because that's not on Muhammad, but might need people to understand that because it might explain some things later in life about how screwed up he was.
Of course. And there are also aspects where, when we talk about who Muhammad was in reality.
Aspects. Seriously, you're seriously going to use that word? I've just said it's a sensitive issue and we shouldn't make jokes about it. And you didn't last 6 seconds.
I mean, there are certain things about Muhammad that when we talk about them, when we talk about who Muhammad really was, there are certain parts of it where I feel like, okay, man, this was a guy who genuinely went through some hardship, who genuinely struggled with certain things, and so you want to kind of sensitively talk about certain things, such as he was abandoned. His father was under weird circumstances, dead before he was born. His mother barely knew him, and then left him at some different place. He grew up being just estranged and lonely and rebellious after a while due to those circumstances against his environment. Being treated as a little dummy and all that, possibly going through different types of abuse, having mental problems, having most likely, according to the Islamic accounts, even symptoms that clearly show, you could say, psychological issues. You could say psychological mental problems. Others could interpret them as possessions, as demon possession. But he would clearly have things like heavy sweating and making snorting noises and falling over and what looks like seizures and things like that, having hallucinations. There are these aspects, and these things are not necessarily things that we want to really make fun of, because it's serious stuff. But you have to talk about them somehow to explain that some of those things may have led to the sick person that Muhammad was and the sick religion that he created.
Yeah, I think I'll finish that Psychology of Muhammad. This was years ago. I mean, you're talking like maybe 10 years ago that I started my Psychology of Muhammad series, and it was planned to be 5 videos, and I made the first 3, and I just never got around to making the last 2. But now I think I want to make it like one long video and have just everything in one video. But I'll probably do that first, and then can expand upon that later by bringing in some of the stuff that the Arabic channels have been bringing up about Muhammad and the other stuff he went through when he was young. Because I was just focused on actual, like legit psychological research and stuff about someone who went through that much trauma by the time he was like 8 years old. Just one thing, he lost everyone, every close relationship he had for the first 8 years of his life. Everyone died. Well, everyone died or abandoned him. Everyone. And it was like, the Bedouins that he was sent to live with, they concluded that he's demon possessed and stuff like that. And then, but yeah, his dad died before he was born. His mom died, and his grandfather took care of him. And then his grandfather died, and then his uncle took over, and uncle apparently was doing some other stuff with him, which is really, really screwed up. Hey, someone remind me, this 6'7". I still don't know what it's about, but kids keep going around saying it, and then adults, because kids are saying it, keep saying it. But even my youngest, who's 7 years old, I said something about 6 one day, and he goes 6'7", 6'7", and he's like a 7-year-old. So I know this is everywhere. But guys, remind me, like maybe after a week into, because I got a bunch of stuff to do right now, but maybe a week into January, remind me to make a video, just something like 6'7" Aisha. 6'7" Aisha. What if I made a short video discussing whether Aisha was 6 or 7? Because that's where there's a dispute. There's no dispute in the Muslim source that she was 9 when Muhammad consummated the marriage, although we're about to hear from Imam Tawhidi on that issue. So I don't know what he's going to say. I'm assuming he's going to deny it. But imagine if we had a short video on the dispute about Aisha being 6 or 7 when Muhammad married her. No dispute about the 9, but 6 or 7. You find a bunch of passages saying she was 6 when Muhammad married her, a bunch of passages saying she was 7 when Muhammad married her. Imagine if we had a nice short video and people made it known. Ooh, what if we got this all over TikTok?
That'd be nice.
And then all the young people, when people start going 6'7", they're like, oh yeah, what about Aisha? And they bring it up, man. Gosh, can you imagine?
I think the meme is already dead, so you're too late for that.
I don't know what planet you're on. The meme is alive and well. The meme
It's literally dead.
The meme is alive and well. I just saw a cool super chat here a second ago. Let's just go through these first couple and then jump into this. So, guys, we're going to cover PBD. This is by request. A bunch of people asked about Imam Tawhidi. Now, I interviewed Imam Tawhidi in Washington, D.C. Years ago. Just asked, how he interprets various things. Got his. We weren't arguing or debating and so on. People are like, "Why didn't you blast him?" Like, I'm interested in hearing his perspective. And there are actual believers. You have people who just lie about Islam. You have the people who are saying things that go against the grain of what we're familiar with, but they're sincere. My impression of Imam, and I'll go ahead and say it, and I'll say it again here when we start watching the podcast. But my sort of quick litmus test is, what do you complain about most? What are you targeting? So take a group like CARE. They say, oh, Islam's a religion of peace. People are misrepresenting Islam. When you look at how they react to news of like a terrorist attack, they say, oh yeah, we condemn that terrorist attack. And then they focus everything on attacking people who are criticizing the terrorist attack, right? That's what they do. They say, oh yeah, CARE International condemns this latest terrorist attack, but we warn people not to use this against Islam. And then they start attacking everyone who brings it up and starts pointing out where in the Muslim sources they get this from. So when there's some horrible thing that happened, someone kills a bunch of people in the name of Allah, and your main concern is not that. Your main concern is silencing people who are criticizing it. I do not trust you. I do not believe you for a second. When your main target of your criticisms is the people who are launching terrorist attacks, and it's the grooming gangs and not the people who are exposing the grooming gangs and so on, when you are actually blasting away, not in the Zut sense, but when you're blasting away at the people who are doing horrible things, there I can actually take you seriously. I can actually take you seriously. And so with Imam Tawhidi, he's on the right side of that issue, and that he's usually exposing and condemning the people who are doing messed up stuff, and not the people who are criticizing it. So that's a good sign. But we'll see what he's got to say on the PBD podcast. I did not watch any of it. I looked at the list of topics in there, and I took the part where he's talking about like the Muslim Brotherhood in Islam. So I cut that. We're going to watch some of that. We'll see how it goes. And then there's a part where he's talking about Aisha and the 72 virgins issue and stuff like that. And so I got that. We're going to check that out. But let's take these first.
So you're saying that he's a liar. That's your conclusion.
That's how you interpret everything.
A Muslim,
you think everyone's a liar.
Somebody who identifies as a Muslim comes and says something, and David is like, no, he's probably lying. Probably Taqiyya.
You take someone, guys, people, there's this thing called projection. And because all Turks are liars all day long, that's all they ever do. They assume that everyone else is a liar. Like
Fair
them.
enough.
Mm-hmm. Loaves of Bread said, I'm new here. I've only watched 200 of your lives. That is pretty new.
Nice.
We have Dominic there. No comment, but thank you. We have also Loaves of Bread. I've always said take beer, and so do the Dais. Oh, yeah. That's apparently not all they're taking. Just ask the Warner. He's taking a little something extra.
I was taking up the butt to join the Illuminati and spread my cheeks to spread Islam.
Look at this. Look, right when I said it, look at this. Famous Zut songs. A Hard Day's Night and Help. Right? You know what's funny? As soon as I said, how many Zut songs do the Beatles have? I'm like, gosh, if I just thought about some of the titles, I could probably come up with some that are related. But yeah, Asterix obviously came up with the same idea and picked two winners.
Nice.
Anti-Islamic Republic protests in Tehran right now. That's cool. I hope that continues.
They'll probably kill him soon or something.
Beauty isn't a property of objects. It's an emotion in the mind. Demons can manipulate it. I'm still caught in demonic bondage. How can I become regenerate? Hey, Nordine, what is up with you? You keep telling me I have to focus on demons and Yajuj and Majuj and all this stuff. And here you're saying that you are caught in demonic bondage. Get to church. Stay there. Be there as much as possible. Be around some super hardcore Christians who will lay hands on you. Not the way the Warner wants people to lay hands on him, but get some people who are not scared of demons and will start casting things out and rebuking things in the name of Jesus.
For losers.
AP didn't read this super chat yesterday, so I will write it here. Shame on AP. My 7-year-old son said, I would rather eat turkey than go to Turkey. Proud dad moment. That's
I literally read that super chat during the live stream. I remember exactly how I read that super chat. Take back your false claim, Aussie.
Hey, that's what's funny. People post a super chat and then they like get up to pee or something like that, and they come back and they didn't see that their super chat was read, and then they complain, "You didn't read my super chat.
Read my super chat. How dare you?" I literally did.
Still a proud dad moment. So now that got read on 2 separate awesome live streams. Here we have the apostate prophet. Is that Lily J, the apostate prophet? What the heck, man?
What's wrong?
You guys got issues, man. You guys got issues.
What is wrong with you?
Hey, everyone, don't forget to stream Season 1, Episode 30 of Lily J's World, titled Tonight's a Hoot with the old Zoot.
All right. So I have to say one thing here.
I'm screenshotting that. What?
Some things might go a little bit too far.
Yeah.
So the apostate prophet, I would recommend not using that. Just so you know.
The apostate prophet?
Yeah, that and the profile picture with it. She might be a complete dummy, but still, let's remember the morals of the... Yeah.
There will come a time in 2026 at some point where we all just go through Lily J's stupid videos. We've been occasionally responding to this here, occasionally responding to that there, but overall we're letting her become more and more influential in the Dawah scene while we focus on all the previous generation. Guys, remember we say, these guys last like, 3, 5, maybe 6 or 7 years. 6 or 7, you were like senior citizen in the Dawah community because you're normally long gone by then. But we're getting rid of the old guard, and we need the new people coming in. So we want to let them build up popularity for a little while before we crush them. But that will come in 2026. That will be long enough for her to build up.
Inshallah. If you want to attack her over that kind of stuff, she literally has music videos up on her channel right now. The same YouTube channel that she uses to spread Islam and to talk about Islam. On the very same YouTube channel, she literally has a music video that is highly sexual on there. If you want to target her over that stuff, you can target her over that, which, I mean, it directly shows how ridiculous the whole situation is. She has a song and a video there where she's just all about sex and body and nudity and all that.
I used some clips. I used a couple of clips of that, but she's like zooming in on her boobs and butt and all this stuff, and when I posted it, people are like,
and stuff.
Yeah, people are like, when I posted that, Muslims said, "Oh, how dare you condemn her for something she did years ago?" It's like, she's still making money off it. It's still up there. It's not like you could take someone like on OnlyFans or something like that, and then they decide to, let's say, have a big life change. Well, I'm all in favor of them having some big life change. If they still keep all their OnlyFans stuff going and still making money off it and stuff like that, I'm not taking you seriously right now.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up.
Hey, check this out. Aquila says, 20-year-old here, just told my parents I left Islam and now believe in Jesus. Got disowned, but I still have faith. Islam is falling. Jesus is risen.
Very, very good to hear.
Super based.
Super based.
That's the one I wanted to get to, but we'll check out these last couple real quick.
Super
Have
based.
you considered the possibility of angelic influences in the world? Yeah. I think you should consider it and talk exclusively about how angelic forces are intersecting with our world and society. Yeah,
that makes sense.
This is the flip side of Nordine's comment. Watched a nature documentary about Borneo today, and since then I imagine what an orangutan would think if he saw a ginger Dawah guy. That is funny. The orangutans, they're kind of the gingers of The primate world. Let's see. Dwap. Consider if you would invite Goldie Gamari to join you all on the podcast soon to talk about revolution and Islamic oppression in Iran would be based.
I would love to. I was actually supposed to have a live stream with her a long time ago, and
long time ago.
then it didn't happen because at that time there was a lot of stuff going on in Iran.
Because there's a lot of stuff happening.
Thank you for adding music to that. And I was also
adding music.
and I was also very busy, so it didn't happen. But I might just get back to that and do that sometime.
But it made me shiver. With every excuse AP delivered. I plan on purchasing an ERV Bible, but I would appreciate your thoughts on it. Also, as soon as I get my GED, I want to attend Kairos University, though I don't have any detailed plan yet. Any advice? ERV Bible, what's that?
What's an ARV Bible? I never heard of that. Easy to read version.
Is it?
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, as long as it's accurate, no problem with that. Want to attend Kairos University?
No, if it's not KJV, then don't read it.
Don't have any detailed plans yet. Yeah, we can't give you life advice on what you should be doing at university if we don't know anything else about you. Because, if you wanted to go into apologetics, that would be one thing. But, I mean, you could want to do a million different things in life. And AP is the last person I would listen to on something like that. Yeah. Turkey roasting is just worth being read twice.
That's true.
Turkey roasting. Are we ever going to see Dr. Zut shake your booty and the Warner in the boom boom room? We do need Dr. Zut would be a cool character. Dr. Zut.
Hey, that's a funny idea. I'll make a note of that.
Dr. Zut. Please watch Billy Carlson live right now. It's gold. You mean the dude that Wes Huff debated?
Who's Billy Carlson?
Yeah, there's Billy Carson.
Player?
There's that dude who's in all the crystals that Wes Huff crushed and got instantly famous because he crushed a dude so bad. All right, ready to check this out?
Yeah.
So we have Imam Tawhidi came on the PBD podcast. And again, it's how long was that? It was over an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. It was a long live stream. I cut the parts to watch here about him talking about the Muslim Brotherhood and so on. And then there's a part later, Aisha and the 72 virgins and all that stuff. We'll check these things out. So we'll watch the Muslim Brotherhood part until we've seen all we need to see, and then we'll go on to the Aisha section. So let's go ahead and check this
People
out.
actually waste their time with this kind of stuff, man. I just checked out Billy Carson live stream. He's live right now. He has 1.2 million subscribers, and like 300 people are watching. And he's on a panel with a bunch of people, and they're just talking about the etheric world and how the wind may be sentient and all that. Like, people actually waste their time with this kind of garbage. It's kind of funny, man.
Well, it's good if it's 300 people. It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
That is funny.
All right. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Today we have a special guest with us, Imam Mohammad Tawhidi, Tawhidi, depending on how you pronounce it.
The dude's literally right in front of you. You didn't think to say, how do I pronounce your name?
Tawhidi,
5
I
seconds
don't know
before
how
you
it's
start.
pronounced. Whatever, Tawhidi, whatever it is.
Towhead, Towhead. Dude, learn the dude's name. He's right in front of you. You're going to sound
It's
racist.
Tawhidi. I'm literally right here. Yeah, anyway, however it is pronounced, who knows? He's right here in the studio with us.
I'm saying that because anytime I bring on someone new, if I don't know how to pronounce their name, I'm just like, before I go live, I'm like, hey, how do I pronounce your name?
I don't know. Everybody asks me always how to pronounce my name. So
Yeah. And everyone knows it's AP.
exactly.
AP. It's not hard. All right, here we go.
From Iran, Tawhidi. And this is a very, very interesting figure. I've been listening to and watching him for many, many years. He is the governing member of the Global Imams Council, advisor to counterterrorism at Trends Research and Advisory. Imam Tawhidi, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Okay, so
Anytime.
There's a lot of topics I want to go through, but before we get started, if you don't mind, take a minute and maybe share your background before we get into the questions so the audience knows.
Sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I took everything up to the Muslim Brotherhood section, but this would be cool to get his background.
My name is Mohammad Tawhidi. I'm a third-generation Imam. I am an ordained Islamic cleric. I was ordained in the holy city of Qom in Iran, which you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an Australian citizen. I currently reside in North America. And I also have extensive travel in the Middle East with a focus on the UAE. I specialize in Islamic law. And my faith, for those wondering, I am a Orthodox Shia Muslim.
Shia.
Orthodox is not an Islamic term, but it is the closest for the listener to understand that I am not a reformist in any way. I believe in reform of societies, reform that does not involve change of religion. So I want religion to remain what God revealed it as and not man-made.
That's interesting. I'm sure he told me some of that. I just my memory sucks. So even if he told me a bunch of this, I will have forgotten it by now. So this will be a lot of new information to me. But interesting. So he's Shia Muslim. Shia. That will make sense if he's going to reject the age of Aisha, because we normally go to Sunni sources for that.
Because man-made is not accepted within Islam.
Okay, so the current population of Islam is what? 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 billion?
Climbing up to 2 billion.
Climbing up to 2 billion. Okay. How many people of the Muslim Islamic community, how many of them view things the way you do? I've heard you say about this before. It's not a big percentage of people. But for you, a lot of people call you the Imam of Peace. I think your handle is even Imam of Peace. You may even call yourself Imam of Peace, right? And there's always a confusion between this is the religion of peace, but we saw what happened on 9/11. This is religion of peace, but we saw what happened with Hamas and Israel. This is the religion of peace, but we saw what happened in Australia just recently. This is the religion of peace, but to me, you seem pretty peaceful. To me, you give me the vibes that you actually are trying to pursue peace. However, of the 1.9 billion, give or take close to 2 billion, how many of them think the way you do?
David, pause.
I already did. I already paused, man.
Before he answers it, how many do you think like Imam Tawhidi?
He's a Shia, so you're already dealing with a minority of, around 15% of the global population of Muslims. And you can see there are plenty of violent Shias. That's the regime in Iran, that's Hezbollah, that's a bunch of groups and so on. So I would think tiny percentage. Although, with that said, you do have plenty of Muslims out there who are just living their lives and aren't plotting to violently subjugate the world. So they could kind of agree with him in that sense. As far as like his specific views, I would assume tiny minority. And that's kind of the issue, man. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, suppose hypothetically that Imam Tawhidi is completely correct in all of his interpretations. I'd like to ask, what exactly is the difference? What's the difference, ladies and gentlemen, practically speaking? In other words, how it actually impacts us. What's the difference, practically speaking, between a religion that says, fight those who do not believe, and it means exactly what it says, and a religion that says, fight those who do not believe, and doesn't really mean it, means something else, but it just sounds like it means it, and therefore most people think it means it. Like, what, practically speaking, what's the difference? In fact, I'll go ahead and say the second one seems more dangerous to me. If the religion said it, and really meant it, and everyone followed it, everyone knew it, and everyone followed it, then I think, we would say, oh, that is clearly a danger. We can all be united against this danger. If it's just, you've got a God who can't say what he means, and he just starts blurting out all these calls for violence and child marriage and all this stuff, and he doesn't even mean it. And a bunch of his followers don't think that he means it and thinks that he means the opposite of what he says and so on, then you're going to end up with this endless mixture of super nice, friendly people who, he doesn't really mean that, and all these people who are going out slaughtering people. In other words, they're both really bad. They're both really, really bad situations. So, if Islam is really peaceful, but only a few people can actually figure out why it's peaceful, it doesn't seem any better to me.
Yeah, I would say that probably approximately one person agrees with Imam Tawhidi, and that's Imam Tawhidi himself.
We'll see. Maybe he's going to convince us.
No, among Muslims.
Oh yeah, but he might convince us.
Right. So
and then we can be Muslims.
I am a follower of my religion. And to break it down in such a simple way, I don't think it would be fair for the religion itself or for its adherents, or for countries like the UAE, Bahrain, who are working very hard to establish peace and harmony, or their populations. So the distinction we need to make is between Islam and Islamism. Islam as a religion and Islamism as a contemporary political ideology that uses Islam to gain power. And Islamists are not a monolith. So there are Islamists who believe in participating in democratic principles. You'll find them running for Congress. Mm-hmm. And you have those who will simply engage in jihad, and jihad can be categorized in many, many ways. And I mean violent jihad.
So he said there are Islamists who run for Congress, right? Think he's thinking of some in particular? Like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib.
It does sound pretty racist when you say it like that, but I don't know what he means.
No. Look, I'm the only one who could be called racist here. You can't because you're Turkish. He can't because he's Iranian. PBD can't because he's Assyrian.
That's true.
I mean the struggle of the self against one's desires. Mm-hmm. No, I mean going into a society and changing it, going into a community and hijacking their values and then preventing the host community from enjoying those values, free speech, freedom of religion, expression, and so on. So I would advise that we need to separate, we need to draw a fine line between the Muslim Brotherhood that was in the West first and the Muslims who came afterwards, who just want to lead a normal life.
We definitely need to draw a line to have a distinction between Muslims who just want to live normal lives and people who want to take over society. But
what if I don't want to draw a line?
Yeah, so he's saying draw a line between Muslims. I agree completely. I always have. But the idea that Islam is distinct from what these guys want, I have to say, well, he's a Shia, so they've got different sources and stuff, but the Sunni sources are pretty darn clear. I think the Quran is pretty clear too. But anyway, maybe we'll get some of his interpretations here.
I don't want to draw the line. And the thing is...
definitely not a Diddy line.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with drawing lines. The Shia issue is actually might even make things worse, because throughout the history of Islam, Shia have not been necessarily the kindest and the nicest and the most peaceful. They initiated throughout much of Islam's history a lot of violent conflict as well. And you could say that so they were under Sunni oppression, but they themselves were also quite as violent. And over the last decades, Shia groups and the Shia leadership and Shia people have been engaged in a lot of violence, in a lot of inter-religious violence and inter-Islamic violence. One of the most violent, one of the most oppressive governments we have today is actually the main leader of the largest Shia group that exists, which is the Twelver Shia group. That is the government of Iran. The Iraqi Shia are also quite bad. In Lebanon, the Shia are quite bad. So the Shia doesn't really mean, they're Shia. Sunnis are known for all the bad stuff and all that. No, Shia are also known for the very bad stuff, and their sources are also very, very much wretched and bad.
Yeah, that's. I studied. I read some of Al-Kafi. That's like their Bukhari. For a debate a long time ago, and I noticed that it didn't sound much better. But you do have different groups within Shia Islam, so I don't know what his particular what sources he goes to and so on. But maybe he'll share some of that, and I'd be interested in how he's interpreting certain like Quran verses and so on.
So there is no percentage that I can give you because we're not talking about the same issue. We're talking about a group of people who have hijacked a religion. And those people need to be understood because in Arabic we say "khotab saf al-istikan," which means you're stirring beside the pot or beside the cup. We need to stir in the cup in order to get the flavor of the sugar we put in it. So that's exactly what the extremists want to do.
Don't let the Warner catch on to that saying.
The extremist doesn't tell you he's an extremist, and the Islamist doesn't.
Don't put your spoon in beside the cup. Put it in. You get all the sweetness.
So Imam Tawhidi. So there are some Shia sects and Shia groups, such as the Ismailis, which are known to be quite peaceful and reformist and all that. But Tawhidi is not one of those. So he's actually part of the 12er Shia, which are. But he wouldn't agree with the.
Oh, he's 12er?
Yeah, he's 12er. So he wouldn't agree with the government and the leadership of Iran, for example, because he would be part of a rival 12er Shia group. But he is a 12er, and 12er is not a good way to go.
I'll save this.
Pretty sure he is 12er, but if anybody knows any other info, correct me. But pretty sure that's what he told me, and pretty sure that's the general. Wait, let me check.
All right.
They tell you he's an Islamist. They tell you we're Muslim. Osama bin Laden, for example, many people do not know he was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Al-Qaeda came from the Muslim Brotherhood. ISIS came from the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is the paramilitary wing of the Muslim Brotherhood. This is not Sunni Islam. This is an organization with its own charter.
It's not Sunni Islam? What's the Muslim Brother... AP, what's the Muslim Brotherhood advocating that is not just mainstream Sunni Islam drawn from Sunni Islam sources?
The Muslim Brotherhood is pure, full-blown Sunni Islam. That's what I
mean. If you read the Quran and the Sunni Hadith and their tafsir and so on, and you said, what kind of organization should we form? I think it would be eerily similar to the Muslim Brotherhood.
That's the distinction we need to make. Otherwise, we will be discussing an issue that is very distant from the disease itself.
Okay, so how different do you view the world? So let's put them in a different community, because I think it's very important to do this. You have those who are the extremist, okay, which you're kind of talking about. Then you have those who came afterwards, not the first Muslim Brotherhood that came. The other ones that just came, they're like, look, I just want to live in America. I just want to live in Australia. I just want to live my life and have a regular life. Then you have those who are like you know, claiming, presenting peace as the basis of the way you want to live. Okay. Give me when you're talking to Tommy Robinson, you said, I think there's around 5 million people like me, like you. Then he said, and really, really like me, it's only about 500,000 people that are like me. You said this to Tommy, I think, 7 or 8 years ago when you guys did an interview.
500,000. He thinks there are 500,000 people like him. And that's supposed to make us feel better about Islam. And oh yeah, okay, so it's only like the incredibly overwhelming vast majority who think completely differently.
Whale.
That's not good. And you have to say with a group like the Muslim Brotherhood, you say, the Muslim Brotherhood, because, you sit there and you look at Nigeria. Nigeria is a very different place from a country in the Middle East, which is very different from a country, in Asia, like Pakistan or Afghanistan. And yet there are lots of Muslims in Afghanistan and in Pakistan and in the Middle East and in Africa and even in the United States and Canada and UK and so on, who somehow misinterpret Islam in exactly the same way. Like they're all misinterpreting Islam, but they all misinterpret it as, oh yeah, we are supposed to violently subjugate the world. And
dude, it is a coincidence.
No, I'm thinking about how he would respond. He would say, that's because you had an organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, that, influenced things globally. But I'm thinking, I mean, if you're out talking to Muslims and saying this is Islam, like, why do people agree? I mean, think if a Muslim organization just came forward and said, hey, you know what? We can all eat pork. Eating pork is fully halal. I'm assuming you wouldn't, a bunch of people would point out, no, that's wrong. You got a problem there. That doesn't work. Here's the refutation in the Quran. We got the Muslim Brotherhood. Hey, we're supposed to subjugate the world. We're supposed to fight those who do not believe in Allah and so on. And everyone, yeah. Now let's get on board with that. It's like, okay, well, why aren't people going through the sources and saying, this is completely wrong according to the Muslim sources? Well, because you've got fight those who do not believe in Allah. You've got Muhammad in the Sunni Hadith collection saying, I've been commanded to fight people until they say there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet and so on. So in other words, when you have a genuinely peaceful Muslim, if he were to debate someone from the Muslim Brotherhood who knows the sources, and they were to debate who is more aligned with authentic Islam, I think the Muslim Brotherhood guy is going to crush everyone else.
Yes.
Okay. But today, if you're able to break it down, I think the extremist is this, the people that are just living their regular life is this, and this, or maybe even if you want to add anything else to it as well. How would you break down those sects?
Yeah, I think I was very general when speaking to Tommy in that interview, and I believe I understood the question to be within Australia. So how many like you within Australia? And I still believe those numbers are accurate. I think the majority of Muslims are not only supportive of peace, they lead a peaceful lifestyle. And they do not want to see the Muslim Brotherhood or Bin Laden or ISIS or Hamas as their representatives.
See, this is just nonsense. And this is where I, even if at some point I have a tendency to support somebody who, despite claiming not to be a reformist, comes in and tries to, change the Muslims from within and all that, which, just doesn't work. But when when he starts saying something like this, that's where I just lose all interest and patience, because this is just pure nonsense. This is complete nonsense. Most Muslims around the world may be peaceful, because most people in the world, most Nazis are also peaceful. Most fascists are also, most communists are peaceful. Most whatever you want are peaceful. Most people who follow a violent ideology are peaceful. Most people who follow violent, evil, messed up ideologies, think of the worst ideology, the worst mindset, the worst belief system that you can think of. Most people who follow it are peaceful people. Because most people do not simply go out and take action and spend their lives in activism and militarism, as militants and whatever it is. Most people simply live their lives, even if they have certain convictions, even if they subscribe to certain ideas. They like to believe in certain things, or they like to support certain things passively while living their lives, because humans are in this world where they are bound by life conditions that force them to live regular lives, or by pleasures that make them live regular lives. That does not mean, just because most Muslims are peaceful people, because most people are peaceful people, that doesn't mean that that most Muslims also desire peace, and most Muslims also disagree with chaos and with things like the goals of the Muslim Brotherhood. I would say that looking at any poll, at any survey, at any research conducted by Pew Research or any other organization that has ever gone into this field, you can clearly tell that the majority of Muslims around the world agree with certain things, like those who offend Muslims and Muhammad need to be executed. We need to have Islamic law ruling everywhere. We need to fight if the time comes, if the circumstances arise, and so on. I simply do not buy the idea, no matter who it says, that, oh yeah, most Muslims are peaceful people, and also, yeah, most Muslims do not want any kind of bad stuff happening. No, I mean, if the Muslim Brotherhood actually emerged as a promising force in the world and openly declared their goal everywhere in every country and said, hey guys, Muslims, we need your support now. We are currently on a very, very good trajectory to turn all of these Western countries into Muslim nations within 10 years. I would say that the majority of Muslims would probably look favorably upon that.
You don't know what you're talking about. Who are you supposed to listen to? You or an imam?
And the evidence of that,
because I'm not
I would point to, is the reaction to October 7.
Mm-hmm.
How many did we see flood the streets in support of Hamas? How many did we see? I could safely say across the American continent, around about 150,000 would have flooded the streets between Toronto and Montreal and New York. And that continues, but it's the same community. I don't think we saw 3 million flood the streets, Muslims supporting Hamas.
You see how bad the argument is, David.
It wasn't a billion.
You see how bad the argument is. Just because not every Muslim or the vast majority of Muslims went out to support Hamas, but only small minorities went out to support them, that means that most Muslims do not support Hamas, for example. You see how poor the argument is, right?
It's not a very good argument. I mean, think.
You're trying to be nice, but it's a horrible argument.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, think. Even if we said only the people who went out actually have these bad ideas, and not, oh yeah, there are a bunch more people who have the bad ideas who just don't want to make it known and don't want their pictures all over the place for what they actually support. It's always weird to say, oh, let's say it's only 150,000 who are openly supporting Hamas. 150,000 people? Isn't that like more than there are like actual people in Hamas? How many people do you think are actually in there?
If 150,000 people go out to support Hamas, that would mean we have to begin locking up or deporting those 150,000 people, and by extension, anybody who agrees with them in some form. And you will quickly end up arresting the majority of the Muslim population and deporting them, because most Muslims support Hamas.
Sir Cardinal here, just wanted to point this out. What do you think about Nux Taku checking out Islamic lore? Oh, that's been super awesome.
Nice.
That's been one of the highlights of December. I watched 3 of his videos. He reacted to the Ramadan video. Would have been a little more relevant, right before Ramadan, but still super cool. And it was funny. He was going, what? I thought they were actually fasting. This is what they're doing? And so he's super funny when he's reacting to stuff. He reacted to that. He just reacted to, I think I've seen 4. He just reacted to the Islamic dilemma. I shared that one. He reacted to Muhammad's death, Muhammad getting killed by a Jewish woman. And it's funny because he was familiar with the Khaybar, Khaybar chant and stuff like this. And then he found out who killed Muhammad and so on. And I think he reacted to, then he reacted to the Zut video as well. So it's super awesome. And he reacts to what his fans tell him to react to. So they keep sending this stuff. And yeah, it's funny. So yeah, guys, check out Nux Taku's channel. Not sure how to pronounce that. Taku. But yep, super cool, super funny stuff.
So here's one little glimpse into things. In 2024 March, Pew Research held a survey across America and asked different people what they think about the conflict between Israel and Hamas. and whether they think that the October 7 terrorist attack was justified or not. Of course, the majority of Americans say that it was not justified, that it's horrible and all that. 66% plus 7% say it was unacceptable the way they conducted the terrorist attack. However, here is the issue. The question comes, and the people are asked whether they agree that Hamas's reasoning for October 7 is justified or not. Almost every religious group in America vastly disagrees that they are justified in their behavior. Muslims, 49% say Hamas's reason for fighting Israel are valid. 22% say not valid. 28% say no, not sure. Sorry, this just debunks. And this is just a tiny glimpse, but it just debunks anything Imam Tawhidi says.
Yeah, that sounds like a disturbing statistic. So maybe Patrick's going to bring up some of that.
That did not happen. And that turns into a policy question. Until when is the White House and parliaments around the world going to allow the Muslim Brotherhood to be the face of the Muslim community? Because that's exactly what it is. In Obama's time, CARE, which congratulations to Florida and to Texas, I think a very, very important move, designating CARE as a terrorist entity.
That's cool. He congratulated him on it. In your face, CARE. Me and the Imam of Peace and AP all think you got what you deserved because you guys do support that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which they're being sued right now, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
If there's anything we could do as experts on Islam and on counterterrorism to support the state of Florida against CARE and Texas against CARE, please reach out. I'll say this. I don't know whether they'll win or lose. It does not matter. The point is we cannot allow them to operate freely. And I do understand there is a lack of Muslim expertise pushing back against CARE because they're intimidated by them. They're like a mafia. That's exactly what they are. They're a Muslim mafia. And
There was literally a book called Muslim Mafia written about CARE.
so congratulations to that. That is a
It was funny. It was a dude who like infiltrated. He pretended to be a Muslim convert and worked for them for a while and then made a book about what he saw there.
very important distinction because CARE cannot walk into certain mosques. Please don't think CARE has the ability to walk into any mosque in America. No, they'll be kicked out. They have their own mosques. They have
That's
their
not
own
true.
centers that
That's
they...
not true.
What?
That's not true. Muslims probably generally view CARE favorably. I don't believe that is in any way true. I mean,
No,
that's
if CARE
not
walks
true.
into any mosque, they will beat them up and say, get out of here, CARE. You support terrorists. Get out of here.
It's like a ghetto. So they're very isolated. But Obama brought to them and made them the face of the Muslim community in America, the Muslim population in America.
Why do you say Obama?
Because that's when they declared victory. They became advisors to the White House.
See, look, here's what I'm saying. Here's why I like this guy, even if I think he's very wrong on some things. Who's he calling out here? He's saying, yes, declare the Council on American Islamic Relations a terrorist group. Yes. Do not let these guys control you and spread this nonsense. I like that. That's someone I can take seriously.
It's true.
If a president of the United States of America hosts a Ramadan iftar where Muslims break their fast, and then he brings a member of the Muslim Brotherhood community to initiate the call to prayer, that is a symbolic victory for the Muslim Brotherhood worldwide. That's like infiltration 95% for them.
That is very important right there. What he just said about symbolic victory for Muslims worldwide. That's the thing. When you get someone like when you get like a Muslim becoming mayor in the UK or New York City and so on, it's not just how much damage is this guy going to do because he's like Marxist combined with Islam and all this other like a cesspool of dangerous ideas all rolled up into one candidate. It's not just, hey, what damage is this guy going to do? The victory sends a message to Muslims worldwide. We're taking over these cities. We're taking over. This is how Allah is going to help us take over the world. Yes, we lost our caliphate. Yes, we can't hope to win a physical confrontation with the unbelievers, but maybe this is how Allah is taking over the world for us. And it encourages them to keep on with that mindset.
That's how they see it. And they simply go back and tell their members, it's not just about symbolism. It's more about motivation. Because the Muslim Brotherhood can go 10 months with no success. And all of a sudden Ramadan comes and they're in the White House. So it somewhat validates everything that they have been doing before they came into the White House. And it will, by extension, validate everything they do afterwards.
Okay, so fair,
Smart.
which
He's
is
smart, man.
celebration. Totally get it. That's a big deal. I also think Mamdani winning New York City is also a big victory because they're taking over the financial capital of the world.
That's exactly what I just said. I guess great minds think alike, PBD.
You watched
Massive.
that. You watched that, didn't you?
I did not, but they thought the same thing I did.
validation when Mamdani won. But again, let's go back to it. So you're saying when you saw October 7th happen, how many people did you see worldwide or in the streets? Canada, U.S., 150,000. Fair. We can debate that number and we can fact check that number. Whatever.
Worldwide, I think it's more.
Okay, so it's a massive number that happened worldwide, but that's not
Worldwide, okay. Maybe 1 million, but hey, what do you got to worry about?
the question I'm asking. I'm going to come back to the comment you made about this, but this is the question I'm asking. What percentage, we've seen the numbers, but according to you, this is your world. You're studying anything and every article that comes out. When I was in the insurance space for 20 years, any article that came out on the insurance space, I have to read it because it's my world. So this is your world. What percentage of Muslims around the world would be seen as extremists? Sunni, Shia, doesn't matter. What percentage would you say as extremist?
I do not believe I could give you a percentage because it would need to be based on studies on this issue. And I am unaware of a study that presents it in this manner. But I can tell you this. The UAE, how about we speak on a very realistic level so I can actually answer your question in a different way? I might not be able to give you a percentage, but I want to give you an honest answer. Decisions in the Muslim world happen where? They happen in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, they happen in Mecca, and they happen in Abu Dhabi, the UAE. They don't happen in Tehran, and they don't happen anywhere else. This is important. The decision makers of the Muslim world, both religion and region, are heading in a direction that is not only about the Abraham Accords, but it's more towards peace, coexistence, harmony, prosperity, building bridges with societies, total rejection of extremism, and so on.
Hey, I have to say, you have noticed that, right? You've got, you've got the sheikhs and imams, and you've got the dawah guys, and they're all yelling, we're going to take over the world. Islam will take over the world. But you do have, as far as like, a lot of the political leaders in the Muslim world are like, hey, we need to modernize, and they don't put up with these guys. I mean, they don't put up with the Muslim Brotherhood in some of these countries. They'll crush them. Like they don't allow an imam to be calling for taking over the world, and hey, we have to subjugate this government and take over. And by the way, you could say it's just self-interest, right? Because if you're the leader of a Gulf state, you don't want guys in your own country talking about subjugating the world because you're going to be the first one they want to take over, right? They want to take over your country and then take over the world and so on. So it could just be self-interest. We're not putting up with these guys at all. But I do notice that you have a lot of leaders over there who are even like, yeah, let's get along, man. Let's get along with the U.S. Let's get along with Israel. Let's all get along.
Hey, I actually found the percentage of people who support Hamas, who view Hamas favorably, according to the same Pew Research in America from last year. So the discussion and the point that Imam Tawhidi made was that very few people came out to support October 7, so most people do not support Hamas. So here is I will say, according to this statistic, most Muslims do not support Hamas. However, here are the numbers. So the question is, according to Pew Research, do you view Hamas, which controls Gaza, unfavorably or favorably? 58% of Muslims say unfavorably. 37% of Muslims say favorably.
See, so they're a minority. What's the problem?
37% of Muslims say they view an Islamist terrorist organization,
Yeah, so
which carried out a
under
brutal
40%.
terrorist attack favorably.
Under
and these
40%.
are American Muslims.
Yeah, so we're all safe.
American Muslims.
Yeah, so we're safe because the peaceful, kind, generous, loving Muslims will not let them terrorize us in the name of Allah. What are you laughing at, man? We're all safe. This means we're safe, dude.
This is kind of similar to saying, this would be kind of similar to saying 20% of Muslims view ISIS favorably.
Yeah. But it's a minority, man. 37%. Ha, that's nothing.
Damn.
In your face. Ha. So, AP has confirmed Islam is a religion of peace and tolerance.
To be fair, I'm actually kind of surprised that that it's so low, but that's just because it's American Muslims, probably. Yeah. The funny thing is, among religious groups, so here's white evangelical Protestants, 3% favorable. White Protestants, not evangelical, 3% favorable. Black Protestants, 13%. They probably didn't understand the question. Catholics, 10%.
You hear that? Black people don't understand questions, according to Turkish guy here.
That's not what I said. Religiously unaffiliated people, 9% favorably. Muslims, 37% view Hamas favorably in America. In the United States of America, 37% of Muslims have a favorable view of Hamas. 37% support Hamas.
Tiny minority, guys.
I have to say,
tiny minority.
It is time for Americans to not be stupid like Europeans. It is time for Americans to wake up, stop the influx, stop the growth, stop the rise of Islam, and take measured, reasonable steps to put a clear-cut hold and a stop and a barrier to the growth of Islam in this country, and to prioritize the deportation of any group and anybody who holds remotely so-called radical views among Muslims. If somebody goes to a mosque and the mosque says, may Allah destroy the disbelievers, whoop, round up, deport, shut down the place.
The numbers you just shared give a very different perspective on what should happen. If the majority of Muslims do not support terrorist groups, shouldn't we import as many as possible so that the Muslims who don't support terror will even have an even greater majority over the people who support terror? So we need to bring in millions and millions and millions of Muslims.
Powerful.
That is a massive society, because it's not only about numbers. If we're talking numbers, then we have to go to Indonesia, because they have the largest Muslim population per country.
And they're 98%, 98%, 92%, something like. They're massive.
So they don't make decisions for the Muslim world. It happens in Saudi Arabia. My message is more than welcome in Saudi Arabia. My message is more than welcome in the UAE. And the same applies to Bahrain. I'm not saying it's not welcome in Indonesia. No, it is. But there are decision makers in the Muslim world. And if the decision makers are heading in a certain direction, that should be able to answer where the religion is heading in terms of direction and mood and priorities and so on.
And what are you laughing at, man?
I wish they could actually make a survey of laying out Imam Tawhidi's views and then asking Muslims in Muslim countries how many of them agree with Imam Tawhidi. I would really love to see the results.
Yeah, this isn't like empirical research, but let me just say, because I interact with Muslims a lot on X, I get X just feeds me what Muslims are saying from around the world. I've seen way more Muslims complaining about Tawhidi than I've seen supporting him. Just on X, I see lots of people complaining about him, calling him out, condemning him, calling for curses on him, and so on. Which that's cool that he's willing to endure all that and call these guys out. Because I mean, these guys would come after him just as quickly as they come after us, maybe even quicker. So it's cool that he's still calling these guys out and so on. But I'm back to that question. Like, okay, assuming you're right, assuming Imam Tawhidi is right, you've got a lot of people who are misunderstanding Islam in the same way, and that same way that they're all misunderstanding Islam calls for my death, AP's death, and Imam Tawhidi's death, and PBD's death, and the subjugation of the world. And so Islam is screwed up either way.
Also give you a clear understanding of the future of the religion if it is being led by Abu Dhabi, the Abraham Accords, the Abrahamic family house, that sort of narrative, and total rejection of the Muslim Brotherhood. So though I can't give you a percentage of how many Muslims out of the 2 billion are extremist, how many are fundamentalist, how many are just Muslim by name, how many are practicing, how many practice only in Ramadan, that's a breakdown that I cannot provide honestly. But what I can say is that the decision makers of the Muslim world are heading in a direction that is very positive, right? And I also believe that they are being supported greatly by the rest of the Muslim world. Pakistan, for example, the Muslims in India, for example, these are massive populations that are in line with what Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are doing. And there are other countries that are not in line, right? Such as the Palestinian territories and others that are obvious.
Okay, so this...
Pause it there. We've been through most of this about this Muslim Brotherhood clip. We'll watch a little bit more, and then we'll check out what he says about Aisha. Take a few super chats real quick so that we don't get behind here. Not in the Illuminati sense. Hello, David. I'm an author, self-published 4 books on Amazon. I'd love to write a biography of you and interview you for research. At the moment, I'm on the dole. Would rather live off David Wood book royalties than benefits. Could we arrange this? No.
Dude, man, it's very rude.
Yeah, I don't want anyone writing a biography about me. Just so you know, I started one about myself. I don't know when that'll come out, but yeah.
David, normal humans say, "Thank you, I really appreciate the offer, but I would not like to do that."
Yeah, what he said. I've had people like, "Hey, we want to make a documentary about," and I'm like, "No." I mean, I can't stop people from going and making videos about me or anything like that. And I wouldn't want to, but I don't want to be part of such things. It's funny. Like years ago, when I made my testimony video, is because everyone's tell us why and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'll just make one video about it, and then I won't have to talk about it ever again. And anyone who asks, I can say, look, I already made a video about it. But then people still talk about it and ask me stuff. Tikanis, how do we know the number of magi? We don't. It doesn't say. It became common just to say there were 3 of them and so on, but it doesn't actually give the number.
Really? It never specifies it? That's kind of funny. Never thought about it.
Did Diddy Claus go to your houses for Christmas? No, think he was at the Warner for a very Merry Christmas. 2026 will be an awesome year for us in Australia. Islam taking huge L's, and we have a lot in the works. Cool. Might be dangerous, but will be awesome. That is cool. Oh, and we're kind of on different sides of the world, Aussie, but we'll definitely be doing our part over here to help out.
It's a different planet, man. Not other side of the world.
Shia sources indicate Aisha was 17 or 18, which is creepy, but definitely an improvement. I'd have to see that because, let me put it this way. I'd like to see a source saying she was 17 when Muhammad had sex with her, or she was 18. I have to see that because when someone says, oh, she was 17 or 18, we see that with even Sunni Muslims. They'll do it, but they'll like connect all these things together and then try to build a case, even though all the same sources all say that she was 9. As far as I'm not aware of Shia sources saying that she was 9, but if there are actual Shia sources saying clearly she was 17 or 18, send those to me if you can. I'd be interested in that, and I'll give credit where it's due. I would say they have a morally better view of this particular issue. But you'd still have the problem of over 200 Sunni sources saying that she was 9, especially when, 85% of Muslims follow those sources and therefore think that's cool. When are we getting a collab with Tal Oran taking a small boat from Calais to immigrate into the United Kingdom? Have a sit down with Tommy afterwards. That's apparently the only way I'd get into the UK.
When I'm getting a collab with Tal Oran, I already have something with him.
It's in the works. Trip?
Yeah, it's in the works.
Oh, good. Maybe we'll get that by 2029.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
I would give up my Warner if PBD just randomly bring up the night of Al-Zut mid-conversation. That would be legend status. Anyone who does that. Now, there's this video that's been going around, multiple videos actually, about Muhammad and the men of Al-Zut. What's your perspective? Very cool. Who's better, Imam of Peace or Pastor of Nerds? Oh, Imam of Peace all day long. No question. Prophet Dawood, Al-Zut fear him. Friendly reminder to watch the JP Sears proof that Candace is a man. Yeah, I just looked for that on his... Hang on, I just looked Awaken with JP. How long ago was that? Because I'm on his YouTube channel now. What to get her so she doesn't get mad. That's Christmas video, most boring couple ever. Applying to MK Ultra, Michigan football coach, you're a trillionaire, you're a trash news update genius. That's still... I don't see anything within the last couple months about Candace being a man. I see a video. Candace solves Kirk's assassination mystery. Was this somewhere else? Was this like on Rumble or on X? Because I don't see it on his channel. Unless it's from further back than I'm aware. But yeah, I don't see it. If you know the title of the video and which platform it is on, please leave. Don't worry about a super chat. Just leave it in the comments afterwards. Just leave it in the regular comments afterwards, and I'll come back and check the comments because I would like to see that. I guess I could just go look around more afterwards, but I might forget. Let's see. 96% of the Muslims that came to the U.S. after the Muslim Brotherhood are now openly support Hamas, Iran. What does that say about the not Islamist well, we all already saw the official statistics that AP brought out.
I could have made it up.
Yeah, so we've concluded that only 37% of American Muslims support Hamas. So we've got nothing to fear, nothing to worry about.
But maybe I made it up. I just said it here.
Oh, okay. Hang on. So this is a follow-up to the Aisha issue. Says, correction, I Googled the facts and I was mistaken. Modern Shia scholars say that Aisha was 17 to 19 by dismissing Hadith saying she was 9. Before the 20th century, all Shia scholars said she was a child. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, I still just got to do it one day. Look at what the Shia sources say. PBD convinced me to convert to Jehovah. This was a big chunk of my check. It's going to be a serious project, but intend to mention Zut. How could I not? Your Zut meme central. Now, if you want a book, make a love story about Muhammad and the men of Al-Zut. That will just do well. This is a good time for it. It's all there.
This steamy romance in the 7th century in the hot deserts of Arabia.
Rendezvous with Zut. The desert rendezvous. Wie kann ich als Christ den Koran richtig studieren? Sollte ich vielleicht sogar Arabisch lernen? That depends.
No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, that depends. That depends on how far you want to go. If you want to become like a scholar or something like that, if you want to become you want to go and become a scholar, that would definitely help. If you just want to learn the Quran to expose Islam, you don't need to go that far. Like I expose Islam and, I know a couple words, but that's enough. Imam of Peace equals Iranian grifter. He never speaks Persian because he knows Iranians would call out his lies. He was booed out of Masa Amini event by Iranians in Toronto. He's fooled a lot of people.
Very rude.
I don't know. He seems pretty base. The Muslims in Australia, are they peaceful because they are peaceful or because they are in a country that have rules and not a Muslim country? That's a question. And guess what? It would be a mixture, right? So if you just say, hey, I don't know what a percentage is. Let's suppose 90% are peaceful and not going out and being violent and so on. Are they actually like long-term, forever peaceful? Or is it, hey, we're a minority right now, so we're supposed to be peaceful in situations where we can't actually subjugate the world? Regarding the famous Nasheed of Salil as-Sawarem, clashing of the swords, could a new meaning be seen in it in light of the Zut facts? Clashing of the swords. Did you catch that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. The clashing of the swords could be a subtle reference to al-Zut. How many Muslim protest for the victims of October 7th? Oh, how many Jews protested for Palestinians? Many. 0. So how many Muslims protested? 0. How many Jews protested for Palestinians? Many. That's the difference. Yep. It is. Even if he means well, he's effectively adding to the problem, in my opinion. Do you think he believes what he's saying? No, that's the issue for me. I do think he believes what he's saying. I just don't believe it makes a tremendous difference. And, if he's calling out the terrorists and the groomers and all this stuff, all for it. Hope he does an awesome job at that. But if the people who are spreading Islam have a completely different view, that peaceful guy doesn't make a huge difference in what kind of danger the world is in because of Islam. Nukes also reacted to Ray's Why Muslims Hate Dogs. Oh, yeah. He reacted to Raymond Ibrahim's Why Muslims Hate Dogs. That's cool stuff. You see, aesthetically, I prefer the toilet paper hat to the towels.
Nice.
I may have been hasty in my judgment.
How dare you?
Someone brought up the song Zoot Suit Riot in Super Chat the other day. You should check out the band's name. Also very appropriate to Muhammad. That is.
Very rude.
Of course, Chunk Yogurt and the Young Turks claim there's no genocide against Christians in Nigeria. He also found a way to blame Israel for Trump's largely symbolic airstrike. Sounds exactly like Tuk Tuk and Kooky Candace.
Israel made America strike Nigeria to deflect from the genocide.
Netanyahu said, hey, we need to deflect attention. Go bomb Nigeria. Guys,
hey, can you bomb Nigeria for a second? And Trump was like, yeah, sure, man.
Guys, you need to go on PBD next and clarify things to Bet David and leave no room for any doubts. I was offered to go on doubt? PBD several months back. It wasn't PBD contacting me. It was someone who had been assigned to find someone to talk about something. And I saw it and I was just, I think they're better people I don't even remember what the topic was, but it was something I think they're better people to talk about that than me. So no thanks.
I was invited twice now by PBD. One was the last year or 2 years ago, and then nothing came out of that. And then one was at the same time that you were invited, to which I, to my knowledge, or as I remember, also said that I don't think I'm the right person to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I've said it before, guys. I don't have a strong desire to go on these big. I do when people ask me, like Pints with Aquinas said, hey, come on. He had AP come on, stuff like that. I'm cool doing that, but I don't like seek it out.
I do. I would like to actively go on PBD Podcast.
You heard it
just
here.
So I can perform a Zut song.
Oh yeah, yeah. He should have an entire Zut show because that's a thing. That'd be like 1 to 2 million view podcast talking about the old Zut and the awesome art and songs that it's giving rise to.
Yeah.
Giving rise, not in a Zut sense, but Matt Walsh exposed most X accounts that they are injecting Israel into conservative discourse are foreign. Fuentes is propped up by Middle Eastern accounts. Do you believe that, AP?
Yes.
I do too. David, even in Saudi, you have Asim al-Hakim and other extremists. I believe the leaders of UAE and Qatar and Saudi and these other nations are just not real Muslims or are committing Taqiyya. Yeah, I think there's a mix. I think there are people who genuinely want to like make progress and move forward. And there are people who, this is what's in our best interest at this time. We are not able to take over the world. Therefore, let's do other stuff like Qatar. They're sitting there like buying up massive property and so on in other countries and stuff. I don't trust their intentions. Islam is not as dangerous as OnlyFans. I want to see him discuss how the Quran permits subjugation and violence, thus condoning terrorism. Yeah, we still got a little more in this Muslim Brotherhood clip. Somebody's going to address that. Just interview Mike Winger for D. Wood bio. That'd be funny. I used to fight Islam with bullets and bombs when I was in the infantry. I can no longer fight in that manner, but the weapons you guys have given me, I will be forever grateful for. Thank you. Yeah, keep in mind, in the long run, you can stop every jihadi. As long as the ideology is there calling for jihad, there's going to be an endless supply of jihadis, and therefore you have to deal with the ideology. Long term, you have to deal with the ideology. Short term, yes, you do have to deal with terrorist attacks and things like that. Long term, you have to destroy the ideology. And so, yep. Gwyneth here says, okay, that's fine. God bless anyway. Happy to bless you. Oh, and Gwyneth, if you're looking for book topics, I'm an endless fire hose of awesome ideas on stuff. We reviewing this propaganda? What propaganda? In Puerto Rico, we have 4 Christmas gift givers, Saint Nick and 3 Magi. Interesting. JP Sears. Oh, it was a year ago. Okay. Yeah. I'll look for it. I'll search for it. So the JP Sears was a year ago. We celebrate Christmas eating pork from November 1st to mid-February. That's rude. That's going to be offensive to Muslims. Mo and Joseph Smith both claim to be continuing the prophetic work from the Bible, had dubious verification, disappearing golden plates, and a mole. Yeah, Muhammad's mole. Did you hear about the Imam who apparently solved the Islamic dilemma? If so, are you going to react? You talking about the guy who posted a long video? I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, we will react to that. We'll get a couple guys together. We're trying to decide. Someone needs to watch it and then decide whether it can be broken into, like if he covers like individual topics, then we can break it up into multiple live streams. If he's just flowing the entire time, then we'll probably just have one long live stream going through all this stuff. Thanks, Steve.
Long live stream.
Maybe talk to Armin about Shia stuff. He's nice.
Shia stuff.
He's also an atheist. He can't be trusted. Book name, 30 Shades of Zut. Hey, yo, Gwyneth, that's your name. That's your book. You're getting solid gold right here. Make a book, 30 Shades of Zut, and expand upon the story and make it this amazing love story. Both raised armies, both had special revelations. Talk about Joseph Smith. Revelations allowing them to take large numbers of wives. Both describe intercourse on the highest level of heaven. Yeah, the same demon was after both. Zut book is a great idea. Thanks, Clash Swords. Yeah, Clash. you got two titles. So yeah, pick one of those. I'd go with 30 Shades of Zut. And then after that does well, then you can have the follow-up love story, Clash of Swords. And matter of fact, you can make that one about Dihya al-Kalbi. Book of Mormon contains stories and theories from America in the early 19th century. Current Quran contains stories circulating in the Middle East at that time. Yeah, there are plenty of parallels. The parallels between the two prophets seem to be unsettling to members of both religions. Yeah, we've had an occasional show on that before. D-Dubs, would you fight Anthony Joshua? Bet you get to use Mike Winger as your stunt double. $80 million would go a long way for the ministry. You wouldn't have to get $80 million. One, I'd fight Anthony Joshua just for fun. And the dude would crush me. I just think it would be hilarious to get the crap kicked out of me by Anthony Joshua. That'd be funny. Like I realized years ago when I'd see something about Mike Tyson beating up a guy on a plane for annoying him, I'm always thinking like, if Tyson were around, I might try to annoy him just so he clocks me. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'd have a lawsuit or something. It would just be, I don't know. I think it'd be funny to have a Mike Tyson punch me in the face story. Mike Tyson broke my jaw story. I don't know. I just think that'd be funny. That would be cool stuff. I keep hearing that Taqiyya is a fringe belief and many Muslims are not aware of it. Is this a lie? You may have lots of Muslims who aren't aware of it, but it's a lie that it's like Taqiyya is more associated with Shias because they had to use it more because they were usually the minority historically. Since they're the minority, they used it more. In other words, when Sunnis are persecuting Shias have, what? I'm not a Shia. So they're allowed to practice Taqiyya. But it's straight out of the Sunni sources. It's straight out of the Quran. It's Surah 3, verse 28. And if you read Ibn Kathir's commentary, he shows how Muhammad's companions were interpreting this. That's where you get the quotes like, we smile in their faces while cursing them in our hearts, that you are pretending to have good intentions towards people, even though you ultimately want to violently subjugate them. Muhammad came to play. Now he can't run fast enough. Abdullah best stay away when the pushers come to shove Zoot riot. It's cool how that took off, man. Zoot. Has anyone tracked Mo's development of Islam in conjunction with his sales training and knowledge as a trader? It's very optimized to sales methodology. That is, I've never even thought of that or heard anyone suggest that. I'm screenshotting that because that could be, y'all catching that? So Muhammad's a caravan trader. You got to sell stuff, got to make deals. Got to give people what they want. Got to give people what they want to get what you want. But that's kind of like his pitch for Islam, right? Hey, I want people to fight for me so I can subjugate, Arabia and so on. And don't worry, we're going to take everyone's stuff. You're going to get that stuff. We're going to, what do you want? What do you want? But you want to take everyone else's wives and daughters as your sex slaves? So yeah, we'll do that. And then you get eternity of deflowering virgins forever. That is an interesting point. Had not thought of that. And that's weird because I think of everything. All right, let's check out some more of this.
This is, let's use basic, simple stats. I've seen all the way up to 20% extremists, which I think that's BS. And I've seen all the way down to 1%, which I also think it's a low number. Let's use 5%. Let's use 10%. Pick a number between 5 to 10%. Most numbers you can see will give you a number between 1 to 10%. A lot of studies that are out there. Per percent is 20 million. Per percent is 20 million, right?
You guys getting this? So he's saying, hey, even if it's a low percentage, 1% of 2 billion would be 20 million. Therefore,
if we go to 5%, that's roughly 100 million, give or take, right? Okay. So now imagine 100 million is a third of America. 100 million at 5% is a third of America. 100 million, when you look at Australia may be a lot of land, but it's not a lot of people, right? Canada may be a lot of land, not a lot of people. UK may be a big island, it's, so when you then break it down, that number, and they go into these different countries. So now imagine you are the leader of that country. You're the president of that country. And President Trump comes to you as an advisor. Keir Starmer comes to you as an advisor. Mark Carney comes to you as an advisor, saying, Imam Tawhidi, you sound very reasonable. You sound extremely peaceful. You sound like somebody I can sit down and have a conversation with. We can laugh, we can talk. And I feel the genuineness from you, right? What do I do when I'm dealing with immigration when I know 100 million of this sect, this religion, Islam, is extremists, and they support the violence? A big percentage support, say you put 1 or 3% support what Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah. I live with Hezbollah in Iran. I was there for 10, 11 years. I've met many, many, many members of Hezbollah because, my sister and my mom, we would walk in the streets and you would see things and it would pull up and like, oh my God, shivering, you're worried about what they're going to do next to you. You live in fear. It's not a nice place to be. How do we filter out who we let in and who we don't? Do you use a zero tolerance policy? Don't let anybody in? Do you take the risk with what we took immigration the last 4 years in America under Biden, that people came in and who knows what percent? Because our job is to protect America first, right? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah.
Very interesting question, which this is something that Western leaders in general need to figure out. So what he just said, he said, assume it's a low percentage, right? So assume 5% of Muslims are of the radical persuasion. Well, if you're talking about a global population of 200 billion, you're talking about hundreds of millions of people there. 10%, that would be 200 million people. 5% would be 100 million people. And so if you're bringing people in, like AP just shows 37% of American Muslims support Hamas. So it seems like a higher number. But let's just suppose it was 5%. Imagine if you knew the number was 5%. And you say, so for every 100 Muslims I bring into my country, 5 want to subjugate the country and subjugate the world and impose Sharia and so on. What do you do? What do you do? Let's hear what Imam Tawhidi says.
Your immigration policy needs to be tied to your understanding of sovereignty. So if sovereignty is sacred, then immigration policy needs to be looked at through the same lens. You cannot have a weak, soft immigration policy at all. The UAE is a perfect example, so is Saudi Arabia. How is immigration doing there? It's perfect. 200 nationalities living together. Why? Because there is an excellent, not just good, an excellent vetting system. You cannot be someone who harbors jihadi ideology and simply apply for a visa to go to a Gulf state. They won't accept you because there is a serious vetting system. And if they figure out that you somehow got through, and by the way, there were some famous people who built a career simply because they were deported out of the UAE during the Arab Spring, the so-called Arab Spring. The policy is beautiful. The minute they figure out they made a mistake because they let someone in who then went online and made a comment or supported a certain narrative that is against national security, immediately, knock, knock, where's your bags? Pack up, DXB, Dubai Airport, straight out of the country. There is no negotiation when it comes to safety. Why? Because it's a security decision. So American immigration policy needs to be looked at through a security lens, not a political lens. That's what we're seeing in America. Everything with regards to the border has been a political question.
What you missed, AP, is he was responding to the question. PBD is basically saying, hey, what if it's only 5% of Muslims who are, actually want to take over the world and so on? 5% of 2 billion would be 100 million. And so from the perspective of a nation that's bringing in immigrants, what do you do? And very good. Imam Tawhidi says this needs to stop being a political issue. This party versus that party needs to be a national security issue, and you have to handle it that way. And he was talking about UAE. He said, UAE, if you come there, you get in, and they find out later you said something in a tweet supporting jihad, they're just going to show up to your door and say, pack your bags.
Very racist.
Yeah, it is racist.
Not a security question. In the Middle East, the borders are looked at through the lens of security. That is why there are 0 terrorist extremists in Abu Dhabi. That is why there is no one blowing himself up in Riyadh, in Jeddah. That's why. It's very important that we speak in this manner, though it may be foreign to the American listener. But the understanding of national security in the Middle East is very different because we know these people. The extremists that are migrating to the West are those who were rejected from our societies.
Hear that?
Are those who would be in prison. Muslim Brotherhood communities, you can mention millions of extremists to me. I will not deny that. I'll tell you, you know what? That is exactly right. And if we go to those individuals and we understand their ideology, one way or another, it will take us back to the Muslim Brotherhood, an organization that is 98 years old, who planned this disaster 100 years ago. Patrick, how do I deal with a politician who thinks in 4-year terms? How do you discuss immigration with a politician whose mentality ends in 4 years and who sits with you 9 to 5 So whatever you tell him, he looks through he fits you in through the 9 to 5 schedule. After 5, he's in a bar, he's out of this world. Fighting Islamist extremism is my life. I don't have a 9 to 5 schedule.
Yeah, so we need a government bureau of crushing Islam. Well, radical Islam, Islamist extremism, or something like that. That is an interesting point. You've got politicians, and they don't know what they're talking about on this stuff. And if you're a politician, you're elected, and you have to deal with a ton of stuff. You have to deal with a ton of stuff all the time. And so someone comes and tells you, "Hey, you need to be worried about this," but what do you actually know? It's like a tiny part of your life and what you're supposed to be doing as a politician. Seems like there needs to be something better in place. All right, that continues, guys, and you can go ahead and watch the PBD podcast from the beginning, because that's where we started after the little intro and stuff like that. But they continue that. I did want to get to the issue of
what
Muhammad
a crock of
and
shit.
Aisha. Wanted to get to the Muhammad and Aisha thing, so we can check out what that says. Wait, let's see. There were a couple super chats here. Hey, question. Got a question for you. Hang on. Let me see where I left off. What was Momo selling on the night of Al-Zut? He was selling his butt in exchange for receiving the strength of 30 men.
Huh, that's nice.
Have a whole video about that. From Gwyneth again, I write pirate adventure romances and naughty bits. It would be with my other work, women pretending to be gay men to not get killed, etc. Huh. I mean, if that's your genre, the Zut story would be perfect. AP, are you a big Dragon Ball Zut fan?
Yes.
That's another title, Dragon Ball Zut.
Yes.
Here we have Isa, who's in Israel now. He says, "Hey, friends in Tel Aviv now. Any Sister Aisha updates?" Hey, just because you're in love with Sister Aisha, Isa, doesn't mean you just randomly ask how she's doing and stuff.
Who's Sister Aisha?
Sister Aisha, Muhammad Hijab's ex-wife.
Oh.
I'd love to share notes on the sales optimization. Yeah, I have to wonder, though, like modern sales optimization, it will have parallels with like 7th century caravan trading, but like what principles actually applied there? Greetings to you both from a Muslim, Mr. Wood. If you type Edip Yüksel David Wood on YouTube, he invites for dialogue. By the way, what is your view on scientists like Al-Biruni, Avicenna, Khwarizmi, and poets like Rumi and Hafez? I don't have much of a perspective on poets. As far as the Muslim scientists, as far as I can tell, how things actually played out as Islam expanded, they got the writings from various places and so on, and it would flourish for a while. So you had a flourishing of philosophy for a while in the Muslim world, and you had a flourishing in science for a while in the Muslim world, and it never lasts. And my perspective is that Islam suffocates this sort of thing. They allow people to, go into philosophy and science and stuff for a while to see what benefit it offers to the ummah. And if they, over time, conclude that this is actually going to lead people away from Islam, that Islam just smothers it. That's my view. And hi, D-Wood and AP. I can relate with D-Wood having empathy issue with me having high-functioning autism. Shout out from the Bronx. I'm Dominican. Hey, Dominican and Catholic. God bless. You're Dominican. Yeah, I lived in the North Bronx, and it was a Dominican area. It's a Dominican area. So if you're up in the Wakefield area, that's where I was. Lots of Dominicans up there. South Park did a bit on Candace. Look, YouTube Cartman asks questions, and I'm asking questions. Wait. South Park did something about Candace? I knew they did a Charlie Kirk thing at some point, but that's interesting. I might check that out. All right, AP, let's check out the issue of Aisha real quick. Let's see what happens.
When I speak about the Prophet Muhammad, I'll tell you this: he was a man sent by God to Arabia to guide them towards monotheism, and ethics. That's it. That is who he was. That's what his mission was.
He did a crap job. That's just my view, but I think he did a crap job. So if he was supposed to be guiding them towards ethics, I think he did a crap job. And as far even the monotheism, I mean, hey, we're really monotheistic, but you have to treat me like I'm even greater than Allah, and you have to go kiss this black stone.
And that is exactly what the Quran focuses on. But yes, it's a book that speaks to a developing community. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be war, and there's going to be peace. There's going to be a lot of difficult conversations to be had. And we should not shy away from
very
them.
quickly before we move on from the topic. So, Imam Tawhidi sat there and talked about how much the Muslim Brotherhood is very unpopular among Muslims. Most Muslims do not support the Muslim Brotherhood. They hate the Muslim Brotherhood. They hate CARE and all that. So, it's very difficult to find general statistics and numbers on how many Muslims around the world actually support the Muslim Brotherhood and how many dislike them. It's even more difficult to find numbers on Muslims in the US supporting CARE. But so to start with a very light one, the last survey that I could find was from 2011, which listed several Muslim organizations. This is in 2011. Information is not very much widespread as it is today. At that time, multiple Muslim organizations were listed, such as CARE, Islamic Society of North America, Muslim Public Affairs Society, Muslim American Society, and so on. And people were asked, which national Muslim American organization, if any, do you feel most represents your interests? Now, 55 of men and 42% of women said none. However, among those who did vote for at least one of those organizations, 12% of men voted for CARE and 11% of women voted for CARE. CARE is thereby the highest trusted organization among Muslims in America. All the other organizations are far behind. For example, the Islamic Society of North America, ISNA, only has only 4% of Muslim men said ISNA represents their values best. So CARE is the most popular of Muslim organizations among US Muslims, which just shows me that Imam Tawhidi is, of course, wrong. And he also didn't give us any sources, of course. When it comes to the Muslim
minority,
Brotherhood,
right?
Sure. When it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood, in Egypt, when the whole uprising happened 15 years ago in 2011, at the time, people were asked whether they support the Muslim Brotherhood or not. 35% of Egyptians said that they support the Muslim Brotherhood. When, however, the Muslim Brotherhood's political wing created their political party and ran for parliament, 47% of Egypt voted for the Muslim Brotherhood. 47%, which was the largest share of votes for any party in Egypt. The army had to step in to overthrow the Muslim Brotherhood and ban them again. But they had the largest support base in Egypt among people who vote. During a different poll of different Middle Eastern Muslims, when they were asked whether they show any support or they feel any support for the Muslim Brotherhood, between 25 and 33% of Muslims in general said that they view the Muslim Brotherhood favorably, especially in countries where the group is explicitly outlawed. Still, a quarter of Muslims viewed them favorably. So this whole idea of like, oh, the Muslim Brotherhood are like they're not accepted, Muslims everywhere hate them and all that is complete nonsense. I'm sorry, if Imam Tawhidi wants to join the struggle for the West and against this whole Islamist stuff and all that, sure, yeah, go ahead, do that. But the things that he says are just so twisted and are simply false. And I had a conversation with him twice. I discussed with him twice, and it was very, very difficult to get through and to actually have a proper discussion with him. He is always about dismissing any concerns about Islam as a threat, and wants to make it look like no, it's just a misunderstanding and all that. I just can't take that seriously. I may have a little bit of a lower tolerance level when it comes to Muslims trying to present a different picture, but I just can't take that stuff seriously.
So what I'm hearing here is AP can't stand anyone disagreeing with him, and
Exactly.
A minority of Muslim support
Exactly.
the Muslim Brotherhood.
That's basically what I said. Yeah.
What's the most difficult part of the Quran that you had to accept?
No, I accept it all with no difficulty.
None of it.
No, because there's no question you can ask me that I do not have a rational answer for.
The most basic one I'll go to that you've probably been asked a million times that you know of. So Aisha, how do you process that?
Aisha was not married to the Prophet at a young age. She was an adult.
And I've heard you say this before.
She was an adult.
Do you know how many people who are Islam, Muslim scholars who do the complete opposite, who don't even debate it?
Right.
But you debate it.
They're preachers. They're not imams. They are preachers. The son of an imam is not an imam. Just because your dad has a mosque and leads prayers and gives you the microphone to speak, it does not make you a theologian.
If the average person goes and checks to see, by the way, let's do this. Let me ask the question in a.
Yeah, so guys, this he's kind of losing me right here. Now, again, he's Shia. I don't know what's in their sources, but it's not just some random Dawa guys who are saying this, right? It's one, it's all over. It's all over the Hadith. It's all over Sahih Muslim, Sahih al-Bukhari, Sunan Abu Dawud, and so on. It's all over there. Ibn Kathir in his history of Muhammad got to the issue of the age of Aisha, and he said no one. Ibn Kathir would give everyone's perspective, like every respected authority's position on an issue that he had access to. And he said no one questions the age of Aisha. So if he were to say right now, okay, well, Shias don't believe that, that would be one thing. But for him to say, oh, it's not imams who are saying this. It's imams, it's sheikhs, it's the Dawah guys, it's the greatest, most respected Sunni Islamic commentators of all time. And someone commented earlier and said he looked, and he said up until the 1900s, Shias granted that she was a child as well. So this doesn't look good here. Let me see.
From way.
Right.
If he did marry Aisha at 6,
Right.
if he did consummate at 9,
Right.
would you still be a Muslim?
The thing is, he would never do that.
No, but here's a different question I'm asking.
Right. He would never do that.
I'm not asking that question. If your prophet, this is an if, it's a key word, if he did marry a 6-year-old, if he did consummate, which means, have sex with somebody at 9, that some people would, define that as rape. They wouldn't even consider that as sex. If he did, would you still be would you still see yourself as a Muslim yourself?
Patrick, I'm not running away from the question. I swear on my life and on my mother's life. I'm telling you, when you say prophet, to me it means an infallible being that does not make a mistake or make error. It doesn't make sense.
Then let me ask a question.
That's very funny, man.
Yeah, I have to say, as far as him not believing that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, that makes sense according to that perspective. What he was saying about, it's just, it's not imams who are saying, okay, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. It's everyone. It's everyone, at least on the Sunni side, who would be taken seriously, acknowledged this for many, many centuries. Up until very recently, you had some people who objected to it. But what he was saying there, I'm saying this because it's what he just said is similar to what Shabir Ali said. And I think Shabir said it when he was talking to Mufti Abu Layth and the issue came up. And Shabir basically said, it's not the sources. I believe Muhammad was this great pattern of conduct, and I don't believe he would do something like that. And therefore I'm ruling the sources. If the sources conflict with what I believe a prophet would do, I'm not going to believe the sources. I don't care what the sources say. A prophet wouldn't do that. It sounds like that's what he's saying. If a prophet is infallible and it's wrong to have sex with a 9-year-old girl, well, he couldn't do it. Well, what are you doing with these 200 plus sources in in the Sunni sources. What do you do with that? Well, they're wrong. They're wrong because a prophet wouldn't do that. And so he's just ruling it out. And when Patrick's saying, what if he did do it? It's an impossibility. A prophet would not do that. You're saying, what if I believe that Prophet Muhammad did that? He's a prophet. He couldn't do that. So I can see why he's just, nope, it couldn't have happened. But yeah, it's all over the Muslim sources. So it's another situation where suppose he's right and Muhammad just couldn't do something like that. It's kind of irrelevant because the vast majority of people, anyone who read the Sunni Islamic sources, would conclude that he did, and therefore that it's fine.
The funny thing is, based on what does he exactly argue that marrying a 6-year-old and having sex with her at 9 is an absolutely wrong thing that a prophet would never do? I'm really curious. Is there a Shia source? Is there an early authoritative Shia source that gives him the idea that marrying a 6-year-old and having sex with her when she's 9 is actually wrong, which is why Muhammad couldn't have done such a thing? It sounds very implausible to me. I would be very shocked to find that it is actually established by Shia authorities that you can't do that. But this is just a modern framing of things, isn't it?
Yeah, so in other words, you could agree with Imam Tawhidi saying that a prophet would never do anything wrong and just come to the opposite conclusion. A prophet would never do anything wrong. And we have a ton of sources saying Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. Therefore, having sex with a 9-year-old girl is not wrong by definition, which is that's the direction the Dawah guys go, right? Of course, we have to defend this. It has to be right. Why? Because Muhammad did it. And Muhammad wouldn't be doing something that's horribly wrong.
In a different way, okay? You're born into a family that is non-religious at all. You have to find your own way. It's not third generation Imam. They're not Muslim, but it's not atheist. Maybe it's agnostic. You go pick and choose and find your own. Not Christian, not Presbyterian, not Jehovah, not nothing, right?
I would eventually end up as Muslim. And as Shia
you say
Muslim.
that. You say that. You say that now. And, yeah.
That's why someone said converted to Jehovah earlier. He said, you're not this, you're not that, you're not Jehovah, nothing. Thinking that Jehovah's Witness.
I understand saying that. I would also say I would end up being a Christian myself, and I would say that, but neither one of us know that for a fact. We can play that and say yes, but I get the positioning of you having faith in what you're saying. If we put something on a board, facts of each religion out there, let's name one of them the religion of whatever. But the founder...
That's a crap name. Come up with a better name.
It sounds like a solid religion, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, what would be a better name? Look, he's got a right over his shoulder. Valuetainment. Call it valuetism.
No, whateverism is pretty good, I think.
Okay, whateverism.
That
if you started a religion right now called whateverism, and like your response to everything's whatever, I bet it would catch on. I bet you get a bunch of followers for that stupid nonsense.
Religion who was admired by a couple billion people. If it was factually proven that he married someone at 6 and they had sex at 9, would you ever consider that religion? If, I didn't say Muslim, I said if it was proven that the founder had done that, would you ever accept that religion?
I have to like what PBD just did there.
This is the first time PBD said something good, something useful.
Yeah, guys, that was brilliant because like Imam Tawhidi wasn't even willing to grant the possibility. So what if Muhammad had done this? Would you have a problem with it? No, it's impossible. It's not a possibility. It's like you're asking, what if Muhammad had a square circle? Like I'm not even entertaining the possibility of that. So PBD came up with a hypothetical. What if there's a religion, not Muhammad. It's got a guy and it's got billions of followers, and it's a fact that the guy had sex with a 9-year-old girl. Would you take that religion seriously? Interesting.
No, of course not.
You wouldn't.
No.
Okay, beautiful.
But again, the prophet for us, when you say Muhammad, you know what I
want to see that again. That was interesting.
The religion of whatever.
Whatever is.
But the founder of that religion, who was admired by a couple billion people, if it was factually proven that he married someone at 6 and they had sex at 9, would you ever consider that religion? If, I didn't say Muslim, I said if it was proven that the founder had done that, would you ever accept that religion?
No, of course.
That's interesting. He said no. So, guys, it's basically so Imam Tawhidi does not believe that Muhammad could have even done something like that. But if you look at the sources and you say, it really looks like Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and I don't already. So think about the perspective. Imam Tawhidi already has certain beliefs about Muhammad. He believes he's a prophet. He believes he's from God. He believes he's infallible, and he believes he wouldn't do anything evil. And he believes that having sex with a 9-year-old girl would be evil. Therefore, he can't entertain the possibility of Muhammad doing something like that. But he just granted that if you did think he did something like that, then you should reject the religion. Why is that relevant? Well, we, outsiders, we don't believe Muhammad's a prophet. We don't believe he's infallible. But we have really good evidence that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. And therefore, based on that, we would have his stamp of approval on saying, well, we think he did do this, and we don't believe he's infallible, and we don't even believe he's a prophet, and therefore we can't even consider him as a prophet right now because it really looks like he had sex with a 9-year-old girl.
You wouldn't?
No.
Okay, beautiful.
But again, the prophet for us, when you say Muhammad, you know what I process? An infallible human being that does not make mistakes at all or any error. So it's impossible that he would make such a decision. And plus, the issue of Aisha, you have to weigh it against the society and the dates around her. She was born after her sister Asma, and she died before Asma. And I have it in a study which I can definitely send you.
What?
This is why I sometimes like the real Muslims, the radical, so-called radical Muslims, more than these reforming ones. Although he doesn't call himself a reformist. I just sent you an email, David.
Why'd you send me an email?
I just sent you an image per email. And the image is an excerpt from Khomeini's book, in which Ayatollah Khomeini, the revolutionary and founder of the Islamic Republic of Iran, who is seen as the greatest hero of 12 for Shia. To be fair, Imam Tawhidi does not acknowledge him. It actually calls him a tyrant who was not truly Iranian. But among the majority of Shia, he is actually considered a true leader and a man who was guided by Allah himself. Alhamdulillah. And in his book, which Khomeini wrote, he says the following. I don't know if you wanted to put it on the screen or
what. Just give me a few seconds, man. I did not have my email open. All right.
Fine.
What do you want? You want this on the screen?
Yeah.
There.
Look at what this is from. This is directly taken from Khomeini's book. From Khomeini's book, Tahrir al-Wasila. It says in this book, in the section on marriage, the following. Intercourse with a woman is not allowed unless she attains the age of 9 years.
I wonder where they came up with that number.
Regardless whether the marriage is permanent or temporary. I have to say, Khomeini was slightly better than most Sunni jurisprudence who would argue, no, it's totally fine, man. There is, however, no objection in other enjoyments like touching...
Hang on.
What?
You don't want to gloss over that... whether the marriage is permanent or temporary.
Oh yes, that's
meaning,
true.
hey, even if you could have you could do mutta marriage with a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah,
mutta.
so
you can marry her. You can marry her for 3 days if you want.
So according to Khomeini, you could literally hire a 9-year-old girl as a prostitute by marrying her temporarily, and then simply divorcing her. This is mutta marriage. So you can do mutta marriage with a 9-year-old girl, right? So unless she attains the age of 9 years, regardless whether the marriage is permanent or temporary. There is, however, no objection in other enjoyments like touching lasciviously, hugging, and whatever, and rubbing. How do you say it? Lasciviously. Hugging and rubbing the thighs, even with a suckling infant.
Touching lasciviously, hugging, and rubbing the thighs, even with a suckling infant.
This is real, guys. This is directly from the book. You can fact check it. I looked it up myself. I highlighted these parts myself. If a person has had intercourse with a girl before she has attained the age of 9 years, but it has not resulted in ifta, which is permanent damage to her channels, which I shall not further elaborate because it makes me feel very disturbed, he shall not be subjected to any punishment. So you should not do it. However, if you do it and it does not result in permanent damage to the little girl, you shall not be punished, except that he shall be considered to have committed a sin. If his intercourse has resulted in ifta, in permanent damage to the girl, so that I said I didn't want to elaborate, but it elaborates right here. So that the urinal and menstrual, or the menstrual and fecal passages have become one.
Hang on, you have that in Sunni sources as well. That's where you actually tear her and the two holes become one hole and she is permanently damaged. So that's their concern. And by the way, when you have Muslims saying, oh, yeah, we're okay with sex with a 9-year-old as long as it's not harm, and this is what our scholars have, avoiding harm, that's what their scholars actually meant. Like doing permanent massive damage, not, oh, it really hurts her and causes her a lot of pain or something like that and harms her in that way. Is, are you permanently damaging her?
Yeah. She shall be rendered perpetually prohibited to him, only if he permanently damages her by causing that. Though, according to the more cautious opinion, it shall be so in the latter case. In any case, according to the stronger opinion, she shall not cease to be his wife, even if he permanently damages her by... So all the laws relating to her wifehood shall apply to her, like mutual inheritance, prohibition on having a fifth wife, and the prohibition for the husband to marry his sister, etc. He shall be bound to maintain her as long as she is alive, even if he divorces her. Rather, according to the more cautious opinion, even if she marries another husband after the divorce by the first husband. Rather, it is not devoid of force, and he shall also be bound to pay the diyat for ifta to her, and that is equal to the diyat of a human being. So this is compensation. If the wife is a free woman, she shall receive half the diyat of a man in addition to the dower to which she is entitled by virtue of the contract and consummation of marriage. If the husband performs intercourse with his wife after she has completed 9 years of age, and it results in ifda, in the permanent damaging of her urinal and menstrual, or menstrual and fecal passages being broken and becoming one because she's not fully developed, she shall neither be rendered unlawful to him, nor shall he be required to pay her diyat. So what Khomeini is saying here is, age of 9, clear cut, that is the rule. If after the age of 9, she is still not fully developed, and the man has sex with her, and as a result of that, because she's not physically ready, her channels break and she's permanently harmed, permanently damaged, no big deal. No big deal at all. But according to the more cautious opinion, he shall be bound to maintain her as long as she is alive, though according to the stronger opinion, he is not bound to do so. So this is Khomeini's jurisprudential teaching on marrying children, on marrying 9-year-olds or lower. So according to this guy, according to the greatest 12er Shia of our time, possibly ever, you can literally take a suckling infant that is not even at the age of 1, right? A 2-month-old girl. You can marry a 2-month-old girl, and you can touch her lasciviously, hugging and rubbing the thighs. And although it is a sin, you could possibly even have sex with her, and you wouldn't have any punishment for it. It would just be considered a sin. This is the Shia authorities right here. This is Shia Islam. This is 12er Shia Islam. This is sick, vile, evil insanity. This is what the Iranian Shia and many of the Shia around the world actually follow as legal rulings.
So we are back to this same problem that you have.
And elaborate one thing quickly. I'm sure you're going to bring it up anyway, but you just asked the question without us answering it. Why Does Khomeini specify the age of 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
David.
How would I know? Where'd he get that from? No, that's what I'm saying. Where's he getting that from?
He got it from the fact that Muhammad married Aisha when she was 9 years. That Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated the marriage at 9. So Khomeini's view here and the general Shia view is, if Muhammad consummated the marriage with Aisha when she was 9 years old, how in the world can we judge differently when it's the Holy Prophet who is infallible who did this?
So we've got a problem here, guys. Muhammad having sex with a 9-year-old girl all over the Sunni sources. You've got Surah 65:4 that's in the Quran that's allowing a prepubescent girl to remarry after her previous husband married her, had sex with her, and divorced her, and so on, all before she's ever reached puberty. That's in the Quran, and you can go to their commentaries. They all agreed that this is talking about prepubescent girls. That's go to Ibn Abbas, go to Ibn Kathir, go to Jalalain, Tabari, Qurtubi. They all agree on what Surah 65 verse 4 is saying. But I left it open, not in the Warner sense, but I left it open that maybe Shias have different perspectives on all this, and their sources say something different. And AP's pointing out that 12 are Shias. That's the main group of Shias. Seems like they have a very similar view, and so Imam Tawhidi would be a minority of a tiny minority of a small minority in the Muslim world.
In fact, if you want the numbers, what percentage of Shia are 12er? 12ers make about the overwhelming majority of Shia Muslims, with estimates ranging from 80 to 95% of Shiites globally. So, I'm sorry to say, Shia, Sunni, same BS.
Hang on.
Same evil.
Hey, we got a Muslim here. Hang on.
Oh, I should clarify for those who ask where I found this.
Hey, Tawhid Islam, you said she was 12, talking about Mary. Tawhid Islam, you said Mary was 12, according to Catholic sources. Which Catholic sources? Keep in mind, I'm so sick of you guys lying about this. Say one wrong answer, I'm blocking you. But give us a source, or I'm blocking you. So if you don't give a source, I'm blocking you. If you do give a source and it's correct, I'll let you slide. But if you give a source and it's incorrect, then I'm blocking you.
So I posted the source to what I just read on the screen in the chat. It is Tahrir al-Wasila, translated by Dr. Saeed Ali Raza Naqawi. The book was written by Khomeini. It is in volume 3, page 229, problem number 12. I have the book on my computer. You can easily find it online.
Did we get an answer from Tawhid Islam? Dude, I'm going to give you another minute. I'm going to give you another minute to respond. And guys, I might miss the response because they come up fast, but if I miss the response, let me know. Okay. He says, okay, I'm giving you a source. Hold on. It's hang on. You got to say it right, man. It's hang on. Are we not generous? Hang on. All right, so he said, I'm giving you a source, hang on. He's checking it out. Hang on. So, guys, we were having a nice, friendly discussion, and you got someone who always wants to derail the conversation. I mean, we're talking about some sick stuff, talking about, like, ruining the lives of young girls because of the sick, twisted ideology. And what does someone want to do? Deflect.
Robin Yahud said, AP, look up Maryam Namazi. I don't want to look up Maryam Namazi because I don't want to see a pair of old boobs on my screen. So did Tawhid Islam give us the source?
He's desperately searching for one.
Come on, find it, Tawhid Islam. Come on. Come on.
Keep your eyes peeled, AP. I'll just sit here looking for stuff.
No
Waiting.
response yet? No source yet? Waiting.
Did he give an answer yet, guys?
Waiting. He's smoking weed.
He's looking, man. Hey,
What?
hey, look, hang on. He gave the answer, dude. He gave the answer.
Proto-Evangelium of James.
Where'd it go? Okay.
You are.
Proto-Evangelium of
Islam.
James, right? Hey,
Tawhid Islam.
hey, Tawhid Islam. Yeah, I am gonna block you. So talk any trash you want right now. I'm going to show you. And here's the problem. Tawhid Islam. We're going to go to the Proto-Evangelium of James right now. We're going to go to the Proto-Evangelium of James. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to see what it says. And we're going to see that it completely contradicts what you just said. Right? Matter of fact,
Are you done?
what? I'm blocking him. I'm blocking him now, but I hope you watch this real quick.
Are you then also going to go to the Catholic encyclopedia and say what the Catholic sources actually say?
What did he say? The Catholic Encyclopedia?
No, but did he say earlier Christian sources, or what did he say?
He said Catholic sources.
Yeah, so then we can look at what the Catholic sources actually say.
Here we go. Okay, so here, hey, Tawhid Islam. Look at this. What is this? This is the Proto-Evangelium of James, right? And here's the problem, Tawhid Islam. I'm about to show you what this actually says. I asked you for a source. I said, if you give me a wrong source, I'm going to block you. You gave me a wrong source, so I blocked you. The part that disturbs me is that you won't even care slightly once I show you what this actually says. You won't care even slightly. It won't bother you. And the next live stream you're on, it won't be this one because I already blocked you. But the next one, you're saying the same thing. She was 12. She was 12. She was 12. You'll say the exact same thing, man. Knowing that you're lying and you don't care. And somehow this, we respect Mary. And you flat out lie about her. What is it about your religion? You say, we respect these people more than you. And you constantly lie about them. Isn't that weird? Anyway, you ready? So let's keep going. We have our parents. Let's see. And okay, here's what you guys fixate on, right? Check it out. So number 8 there. And her parents went down marveling and praising the Lord God because the child had not turned back. And Mary was in the temple of the Lord as if she were a dove that dwelt there. And she received food from the hand of an angel. And when she was 12 years old, you see, she was 12 years old. She was 12 years old when what? There was a council of the priests. Right?
Just
okay.
keep swimming.
Let's keep going now. Let's keep going. And what happens when they said, Joseph, you need to marry her? I said, what? Matter of fact, I'll even show it to you.
Just keep swimming. Nothing.
So look, they say there, Joseph, you have been chosen by lot to take into your keeping the virgin of the Lord. Their goal is to keep her a virgin forever. So they find a guy who definitely will never have sex with her. And what happened? Right there. It says, but Joseph refused. So you can look, it's at the top there on the right. But Joseph refused, saying, I have children and I'm an old man and she is a young girl. I'm afraid lest I become a laughing stock to the sons of Israel. You see what he said? If me, being old, marry a young girl, all of Israel will laugh at me and say, what is this old, disgusting pervert doing marrying a young girl? What? What a sick old pervert. So was it acceptable in Israel for an old man to marry a young girl? No, all of Israel found this disgusting. They all found it disgusting, and he would be a laughing stock. Now, hey, here you have it. So here's later in the story, when she actually becomes pregnant. Mary, the Lord God has magnified your name, and you shall be blessed in all the generations of the earth, Mary, and so on. Anyway, this is when she gets pregnant. Look at the end of 12 right there. And Mary, being afraid, went away to her own house and hid herself from the sons of Israel. And she was 16 years old when these mysteries happened. She was 16 years old when these mysteries happened. She was 16. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to go right to the next whatever platform you're on and start saying, Mary was 12, Mary was 12, Mary was 12. And you don't care. But your religion teaches you to respect Mary, right? And so you lie about her. Awesome. What a great religion, man. What a great religion. Yeah.
What a religion. What a religion.
Ah, boy.
And by the way, she says Catholic sources. So Catholics have some respect for the Proto-Evangelium of James and for certain post-canonical sources that add some context, but nobody actually views it as doctrinally authoritative, scripturally authoritative. None of them consider it canonical. So, in your face, bro. And what the Catholic Encyclopedia says, by the way, about this, which you know and we know, because Daniel Kikichu argued before that the Catholic Encyclopedia also says it. The Catholic Encyclopedia clearly says that she was somewhere in her teens, and that none of this is verifiable or authoritative, and that we have basically no information on how old she actually was. That's what the Catholic Encyclopedia says. That's where Catholics actually go to find out about things, not to Tawhid Islam 1.
Weird. So there you have it, folks. The religion that respects Jesus and respects Mary and respects the prophets and so on can't stop lying about them ever. Doesn't it seem a little like maybe it's actually a demonic antichrist religion that pretends to respect everyone while constantly lying about them and attacking them? I don't know. It's my perspective. All right, let's take these super chats. Can we agree Ian Carroll looks suspiciously like Jewish corn actor Ron Jeremy, and that Jeremy is corn actor and Ian is conspiracy corn actor suspicious?
Yes.
I don't know what either one of them looks like, although I know both names. Where do I find the best tutorial for Islamic dilemma, how to versus hadiths? Thank you for standing for the truth. God bless. If you prefer reading, you've got various articles and so on, but Chris from Speaker's Corner is about to come out with a book on that, so I would hold off if you prefer reading. If you want videos, there's tons of videos. Just look up my stuff. For the bare introduction, go to my video, 99.8% of Muslims don't know the Quran says this about the Bible. It's titled something like that. Check out my video for the overall perspective. It's on a slightly different topic, but it gives you the idea. Look up my video, Why the Quran Was Revealed in Arabic. Super helpful. And check out my video, Every Quran Verse That Mentions the Gospel. I think it's titled that. But I actually go through every single one. What?
Do you want to read, or shall I read the passage from the Catholic Encyclopedia dealing with this?
Go ahead and read it real quick, man.
It's very funny. So when the Catholic Encyclopedia talks about Saint Joseph in that section, it talks about the marriage to Mother Mary, and it says regarding the ages and the time the following: it will not be without interest to recall here, unreliable though they are. Did you hear that? Unreliable though they are, the lengthy stories concerning Saint Joseph's marriage contained in the apocryphal writings. When 40 years of age, Joseph married a woman called Melka or Eska, by some, Salome by others. They lived 49 years together and had 6 children, 2 daughters and 4 sons, the youngest of whom was James. A year after his wife's death, as the priest announced through Judea that they wished to find in the tribe of Judah a respectable man to espouse Mary, then 12 to 14 years of age, when they were seeking for it. Joseph, who was at the time 90 years old, went up to Jerusalem among the candidates. A miracle manifested the choice God had made of Joseph. And 2 years later, the Annunciation took place. So, she was somewhere between, according to these stories, which the Catholic Encyclopedia clearly describes as unreliable and not authoritative and apocryphal. She was, what did it say again? Then 12 to 14 years of age. So 12 to 14 years of age when they were looking. 2 years later, the Annunciation took place. These dreams, as St. Jerome styles them, from which many a Christian artist has drawn his inspiration, see, for instance, so and so and so and so, are void of authority. They nevertheless acquired in the course of ages some popularity. In them, some ecclesiastical writers sought the answer to the well-known difficulty arising from the mention in the Gospel of the Lord's brothers. From them also popular credulity has, contrary to all probability as well as to the tradition witnessed by old works of art, retained the belief that Saint Joseph was an old man at the time of marriage with the Mother of God. So the Catholic Encyclopedia itself, this guy, Islam Tawhid 1, comes and says, Catholic sources say she was 12. The Catholic sources themselves say, hey, none of this is in any way reliable or authoritative. However, there are some stories which say that she was 12 to 16 years old or 12 to 14 years old when they were looking, and then 2 years later the Annunciation took place. However, take all of this with a grain of salt because none of this is in any way reliable. That's literally what Catholic sources say. In your face, Tawhid Islam 1.
Shout out to PS2 Chipper for the Apologetics Roadshow memberships.
Based.
I did like this suggestion on the Islamic dilemma. Al Diddyline said, Chris and David should confirm each other's books. That is funny, but we should make them contradict each other. And whoever comes out second should say, I confirm every word of the other book and should contradict it. And then maybe people will actually see the problem. Hey, we have Philosophical Muslim here says, I advise you to stop lying about Islam. Do you mean advise? Or are you sticking with advice?
What if I want to lie about Islam? Are you going to stop me? What are you going to do about it?
Hey, Philosophical Muslim, tell us what we lied about.
What are you going to do about it, Philosophical Muslim?
Hey, Philosophical Muslim, tell us what we lied about.
What you going to do about it, Philosophical Muslim?
Tell us what we lied about. You just accused us of lying. You advised us not to lie about Islam.
What you going to do about it, Philosophical Muslim?
What did we lie about? Oh, he says, guys, I'm genuinely trying to understand Christianity piss. Oh, no. Pliss? Pulse?
Pulse, please.
Yeah. Hey, translation, Philosophical Muslim. You guys are having a discussion here, and I want to derail the conversation, and so I want to ask a bunch of questions to mock Christianity. Dude, go somewhere else with this nonsense. Bye. You just told us stop lying about Islam. I gave you an opportunity. To tell us what we lied about. You instantly changed the subject. We don't put up with that crap here very long. Have we seen enough of the Imam Tawhidi?
Yeah.
We kind of got the gist, right?
Ain't nobody need Imam Tawhidi.
Yeah, so I believe Imam Tawhidi believes what he's saying. I don't believe it's relevant to the problem of Islam in the world. And so you looked on something like he doesn't believe Muhammad would have sex with a 9-year-old girl because he believes Muhammad's infallible and so on. Wouldn't do something like that. Okay, we have over 200 sources saying that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and that's all over the Sunni sources. And AP has pointed out seems a pretty common idea in 12 or Shia Islam too. So you're talking about, again, Imam Tawhidi would be tiny minority of a tiny minority. And so not relevant to what Islam is actually going to do to little girls.
Imam Tawhidi.
Let's see. I hope AP did nothing with goats when he was a Muslim. Well, if it's before.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Muhammad guided Arabia towards al-Zut parties. That's true. They're still happening. Have we discovered who gave Aisha what's a UTI?
It's a urinary tract infection.
Oh. Sahih al-Bukhari, Volume 1, Book 6, Hadith number 293. That's about her getting her first period, isn't it?
Powerful. I don't know.
Narrated by Al-Qasim, Aisha said, we set out with the sole intention of performing Hajj, and when we recited Sarif, a place 6 miles from, when we reached Sarif, place 6 miles from Mecca, I got my menses. Allah's apostle came to me while I was weeping. He said, "What is the matter with you? Have you got your menses?" I replied, "Yes." He said, "This is a thing which Allah has ordained for the daughters of Adam. So do what all the pilgrims do, with the exception of the circumambulation round the Kaaba." Aisha added, "Allah's apostle sacrificed cows on behalf of his wives." Always good to know. Sorry if answered already. Behind, not in the zut sense, in stream. Al-Kafi, Volume 7, Book 5, Chapter 11 says Mo consummated when she was 10 years old. Well, I got Al-Kafi right behind me, so not in the zut sense, but I got it on the shelf behind me.
Chapter 11.
You want to look that up? Oh, yeah, it's online too, huh? I got the hard copy because I'm old school.
I once, Ali ibn Ibrahim has narrated from Muhammad ibn Isa, from Yunus, from Abu Ayyub al-Khazaz, who has narrated the following. I once asked Ismail ibn Jafar, when is it permissible for a boy to testify? He said, it is permissible when he becomes 10 years old. I then asked, can he issue a command? He said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to bed with Aisha when she was 10 years old. And it is not permissible to go to bed with a girl unless she is a woman. When a boy becomes 10 years old, his commanding is permissible and his testimony is admissible. This is Al-Kafi. This is the foremost Shia hadith source.
Well, we got something there. Interesting.
Graded Sahih by Shia standards.
So, got the problem either way. Unless Imam Tawhidi is going to say, no, 10's okay. Double digits. You know, once you're in double-digit range. But I don't know. I'm assuming he would reject that, too, and just say the sources are wrong. The Nick Shearley, Minnesota Somali fraud vid is wild. I haven't seen that. That is crazy, though. The whole, you're talking like billions of dollars. CARE wants to build a mosque in the Dominican Republic, do they? Dominicans ain't having that. AP, saw your Saudi UAE tweet. You put them in Islam camp like Iran and not secular politics. Why? If you Google at Ragged Fit, you don't think Saudi are secular?
No, I don't trust Saudi a bit. UAE is a different thing altogether, but I'm sure I can elaborate further on that at some point, but and I know that especially among Israelis, there's a lot of tendency to view the UAE as one of the good boys, a good apple, but I don't trust them one bit. If I personally traveled to the UAE, I would possibly be arrested upon entry or denied entry. If I went into the UAE and explained to people
wouldn't be denied entry?
Who?
The Illuminati. To the warning.
Yes. If I went to the UAE and said, hey, I'm an ex-Muslim, I left Islam because I think Islam is wrong and false and bad and all that, I would be arrested and be possibly given a prison sentence or worse. Saudi Arabia is even worse. So the UAE is only a minor thing. Saudi Arabia is significantly worse. I do not trust the UAE or the Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Iran or Yemen or any of these countries.
I really don't trust Qatar.
I know that Israel tries to somehow have good relations with some of the oil Arab countries to have peace in the region, and I wish them all the best, but I personally can't have any of that. It's the same thing with Somaliland, for example. Like Somaliland, now Israel recognizes Somaliland as a nation and shows their support. I couldn't care less for or about Somaliland. It's an Islamic nation. I really don't care.
I care because there are people there, and that's why we're going to convert them all to Christianity.
For me, Qatar is an Islamist nest that tries to exert its influence over the rest of the world and convert places in America and the West. They are waging a geopolitical strategic war. The Islamic regime of Iran is also waging one, but after Israel pounded them, not in the zut sense, actually quite in the zut sense. People realize that the Islamic regime of Iran is a joke, but Qatar is rivaling at the moment with Saudi Arabia and the UAE and the others. If it was for me, they should stay out of the rest of the world and just destroy each other with these geopolitical means. I don't like either of them. That's it.
Yeah, and with some of these places, you can trust. I mean, you might trust certain individuals more than others, but the whole thing, it's like Saudi Arabia, right? Really seems like the crown prince is trying to make a lot of changes. Seems like the crown prince wants to make a lot of changes. He's even got tons of Muslims who accuse him of being a closet atheist and so on, because he's deviating so much from what Islam calls for. That doesn't mean Saudi Arabia is not a problem, right? You still have all the religious leaders and so on, and it's pretty messed up. And guess what? The crown prince isn't going to be around forever, and other people are going to take over, and who knows what direction they're going to go in. Hey, Paul pointed out Tommy Robinson was there, apostate prophet.
I know he was there.
Yeah. So you're saying, oh, they would arrest me. Right. But Tommy's just prancing around the entire place.
Well, if he went there and said some of the things that he said elsewhere, things would go differently.
Would they?
Mm-hmm.
Paul had a follow-up. Mutta marriage in Islam is just babysitting. Yeah, it kind of is. Creepy stuff, man. Creepy stuff. AP, look this up. Sunan Abu Dawood, book 40, hadith 4731 on Quran X. Why on Quran X? Why not sunnah.com?
I don't want to go on Quran X. What are we supposed to do with this information?
I don't know. What's the powerful information that was shared?
I asked Messenger of Allah, will each one of us see his Lord? Ibn Mu'ad version has being alone with him on the day of resurrection. And what sign is there is a creation? Does each one of you not see the moon? Ibn Mu'ad's version says on the night when it is full, being alone with it. Then the agreed version goes, I said yes. He said Allah is more great. Ibn Mu'ad's version say it is only part of Allah's creation, but Allah is more glorious and greater. What are we doing with this?
Well, you're going to see Allah, man.
Based.
Sorry.
Wait, I might have actually looked up the wrong one because it gives me the numbers differently here. So
yeah, there are two different numbering systems for Sunan Abu Dawood. There's even more for Sahih Muslim. It's weird. Are you looking up the correct one now? Anyway, sorry, I could have mentioned earlier that I have signed up for apologetics classes at my church. It'll be through a Stand to Reason outpost. That's good. They do good stuff.
Oh, here.
What?
Abdul Salam ibn Abu Hazim Abu Talud said, I saw Abu Barzah who came to visit Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. Then a man named Muslim who was there in the company mentioned it to me. When Ubaidullah saw him, he said, this Muhammad of yours is a dwarf and fat.
Oh, yeah, that's the fat dwarf one. Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's funny one.
The old man Abu Barzah understood it, so he said, I don't think that I should remain among people who criticize me for having had the company of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Thereupon Ubaidullah said to him, the company of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is an honor for you, not a disgrace. He added, I called for you to ask about the Hawd, the reservoir of cistern. Did you hear the messenger of Allah say anything about it? And so on and so forth. Anyway, so he called him fat and short.
Fat dwarf.
And fat.
Yeah,
fat
got
dwarf.
all these sources that call him a super whitest dude around. So he's a pasty white fat dwarf.
So I'm going further into the Shia sources, into Al-Kafi, and others. One hadith from the Shia that is graded hadith says, if a man marries a maid while she is still young, he should not have sex with her until she reaches the age of 9 years. 9 years? Where did that come from?
So that's an Al-Kafi?
I'm not sure if this is Al-Kafi or no. It is Al-Kafi. Yeah, it is Al-Kafi.
We might have to do something on this, just because there are lots of Shias who are now. If they actually have a case, like they've got conflicting sources and some that say other ages and stuff, I'd be interested in that, because you don't want to misrepresent. But yeah, you have lots of Shias who are, that's just in the Sunni sources. I don't know. It's starting to sound like it's not just in the Sunni sources.
A girl should not be consummated with until she reaches the age of 9 or 10. That's another one.
As far as the Muhammad being a fat dwarf, I kind of want to use that for because they still do it. They still bring up the passage they still bring up Song of Solomon 5:16, saying this is actually about Muhammad, but the entire passage is talking about like how awesome and chiseled he is and so on. It's like they say that's actually about Muhammad. She's describing the appearance of Muhammad. Well, one, she's clearly lusting after him. So this is Solomon's wife, and she'd be what? Lusting after Muhammad, who wouldn't be born for more than another 1,500 years. So you'd already have a problem there. But hey, if he's a pasty fat dwarf, then doesn't seem to fit the description of the super mega stud described in Song of Solomon. Dragon Zut Ball Z. Dragons. What?
Here's another one. If a man consummates with a girl before she reaches the 9 years old and she's harmed, he is liable. So the standard here in Al-Kafi Volume 5 and Book of Marriage, Chapter Age of Women, is once again, as we have said, that if you have a girl, if you marry a girl, you do not permanently damage her by having sex with her. If you have sex with her before she is at the age of 9 and you permanently damage her, then you are liable for punishment. If she's not damaged, then it's just a sin. But after 9, you may have sex with her as you wish, even if she ends up being permanently damaged. This is an evil, sick religion that needs to be... Anyway, continue.
Interesting comment here from a Muslim. Zalan says, as a Muslim, I am totally disgusted. This is, if I had to guess, I'd say probably the Ayatollah source we put up on the screen. But he says, as a Muslim, I'm totally disgusted. Thank you guys for informing everyone about this. Why don't the schools in both Islamic and non-Islamic nations teach this? Why aren't there discussions where they stop these teachings? That's the way things should be. But we have politicians and journalists and everyone, just tons of people, educators, everyone's terrified of being called an Islamophobe, so they don't address it. And it's actually worse than just having the teaching. I mean, the grooming gangs went on for decades in the UK because everyone was scared to say anything because they didn't want to be called Islamophobes or racists or something like that. So yeah, fear. People are cowards. People are cowards and they're scared to expose this stuff. But hats off to you. Hats off to you for acknowledging the problem and calling for what people should all be calling for. Yes, we should all be saying, hey, we need to bring all this stuff out in the open and have a pretty big discussion about it.
Muhammad had the strength of over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
That's a good combination of memes.
Yeah, that is. How many zuts were there on the night of all zut?
It's over 9,000.
Islam also has a long history of boy marriage. Someone should dig into it and make a video. I don't know about boy marriage. They had lots of sex with boys. Smash the like button like the zut in the desert. That's true.
The zooted me in the desert.
From one appellation to another, thank God for you. Thank you. Thanks for all you do exposing Islam. One question for David. What was your most significant theological change since embracing Christ in prison? So you mean like after I became a Christian, like what's the biggest change after becoming a Christian, like what my positions were then and then later on? Probably the biggest was like back then I used to take positions on, I'd just read something and then I'd take a position on an issue. And then,
not in the zut sense.
Yeah, not in the zut sense. But over time, I ended up changing various positions and as new information came in, and then just years of philosophy causes you to, well, you're always like, there's so much stuff I don't know. So now, you know, on the big issues and stuff, I'll take a position, but on the non-essentials, it's just, I don't anymore. I'm like, okay, kind of based on the stuff I know, kind of points in this direction, but there's all this stuff I don't know. So I just won't take a position. So yeah, back then I used to, here's my position on this. Here's my position on this. Here's my stance on this. Here's my stance on this. Whereas now it's like, yeah, I don't know. Muhammad plus al-Zut appear in Romans 1:27. Yep, certainly do. First century Jewish women like Mary often got married in their late teens, early 20s, not 12. Read Children and Childhood in Light of the Jewish Family in Late Antiquity, Jewish Marriage in Antiquity. Yeah, I think that's the source that IP cites. So Muslims think like the moment you turn 12, since that was the minimum age, that's when people were ready to jump on you. And it's like, nah, they were waiting until 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, they were going around like, hey, are you 12 years old? Yes. All right.
Time. Old enough to bleed, old enough to breed. Well, maybe Islam is the friends that we find all night long. Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, I'm going to leave now.
Go ahead, man.
I'm already getting sick of this. I've been sick kind of a little bit, so I'm going to leave it there.
Go to sick. Go, man. I've got like 6 super chats left. There's no time.
Go to sick.
Oh, really? Then I'll just stick around, man.
David got the hard copy of the Hadith, but Muhammad got 30 hard copies of the Al-Zud. See, you would have missed that if you just cut out, man. You would have missed that. The Nick Shirley video has 500,000 likes. Worth alive? Oh, Nick Shirley? Wait, I've gotten different names, man. That was 2 different names. That was not the same name earlier. Look up Nick Shirley.
No, it's Shirley.
Okay.
Nick Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley. I want Armin to have friends of faith, and he knows Shia. No, Armin's cool. We've done lots of shows with Armin in the past. Anytime anything with Iran, we try to get Armin on because he's the expert on that. What you are doing on YouTube is great, but it needs to get into Muslim-occupied countries. Do you have a strategy for that? What are you talking about? That's why I ended up doing YouTube. I made a video with Nabil back in the day. I mean, we were already on YouTube, but we were like just posting stuff that people couldn't get to, right? Like if we were giving a talk somewhere, people in other countries couldn't get to it, so we'd post it on YouTube. That was what we thought of as YouTube. Then we made a video, and I saw like 3,600 or 3,800 people in Pakistan watched it. And it was us talking about the history of the Quran and how all the changes to it and so on. And that's when I was like, oh, I just talked to 3,800 people in Pakistan with this stuff. You couldn't talk to 38 people in Pakistan saying that stuff. They'd form a mob and kill you. So no, all this stuff goes into Muslim countries.
You know what's funny?
What?
So I look up Nick Shirley, and I'm like, Nick Shirley. So several months ago, over the last few months, at some point I was with Stefan and others walking around together in London with Nick Shirley, and I had no idea who that is. So I was walking around with him. I had no idea who he was or who he is. Then I go to the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and I see him there again. And he's like, "Hey, wait, man, what's up? How you doing?" Like, yeah, good. How are you? And I think, okay, I recognize this guy from somewhere.
So what's this big video about?
I have no idea. It's something about Muslims and Christians, and it's Minnesota. I still had no idea who this guy is until now. So it's very funny.
We New Yorkers claim D-Wood as our own. God bless. Yep, Bronx forever. There are already 2 mosques in the Dominican Republic. I'm another Dominican from the Bronx too. Just so everyone knows, we will be having awesome stuff coming out in other languages in the very near future. That will be helpful. But yep. Do either of you have a New Year's resolution? I normally get shredded for the first few months, and then in the second half of the year, I pack on the pounds for winter.
Dude, this guy's got balls, man.
Who?
Nick Shirley.
Does he?
He has videos where he just goes into the most dangerous places and just interviews people randomly and stuff.
I might have seen that because I've seen clips of a dude just walking up to people and talking, but it was like a gang area. It was like a gang area in the Somali area of Minnesota, and he's just walking up, and they're like, "What are you doing here, man? What are you doing here?"
But this is significantly worse. This is like he goes to. There's a video of him going to Brazil, to Rio, into a heavy crime area controlled by gangs, and just ends up and just goes and talks to people who are holding these heavy guns and all that.
Aisha's hair fell out and she never had kids. Was she permanently damaged? It's possible. Never mind, you said appellation. May Allah smite you. Appellation. Marriage at 12 was to avoid kidnapping by Muslims. You had to use that. You had to tattoo your kids too. What is your most favorite polemic and apologetic against Islam? Favorite polemic is blasting away at Muhammad for things like sex with Aisha. Favorite apologetic is the Islamic dilemma. You want to answer that? We got 2 more. Do you have a favorite polemic?
My favorite argument against Islam is the Fav argument. It is short for... What was it again? The falsification by authoritative variations. Yeah, that's what it's called. That's a very solid argument against Islam. So that's my favorite argument. It's currently still being fleshed out. It's not officially anywhere. That's the Fav argument. It's my favorite argument. The second favorite argument is the Islamic dilemma. The third favorite argument is the one about Ezra in the Quran. That's it.
Let's see here. So we got that. Then we have, hello, I was born Ismaili Muslim and was not familiar with the sources you provided. Also, just wanted to know y'all's thoughts on Ismaili Muslims and the Aga Khan. Ismaili Muslims, I mean, this is my experience. I haven't like gone and studied how they were over the centuries, but right now they're more philosophical. They seem to be significantly more intelligent on average than the Dawa guys and so on that we interact with. So yeah, on the Islam spectrum, I take Ismaili Muslims more seriously than I take other Muslims. The Aga Khan, that's like their spiritual leader. Haven't really studied that, so not sure. But I have to say, I would kind of think of like Ismaili Islam as similar to like Imam Tawhidi, in that even supposing you guys were right, it's kind of irrelevant if the overwhelming vast majority are going in a completely different direction. So
is it overwhelming?
Overwhelmingly. Any differences in evangelism to Sunnis versus Shias? Well, yeah, they do have different views and they do use different sources. So you'll sometimes find that if you quote something from a Sunni source, they might not have that belief in Shia Islam. And lots of times Shias actually cheer for, like we made Islamicize Me, which is just blasting away, but we were using Sunni hadith and we were getting messages from Shia Muslims like going, thank you for exposing all this stuff. And so it was actually kind of cool. But yeah, if all else fails, you can just, base your criticisms on, things in the Quran or something like that. And they all believe in the Quran. Mr. Wood, can you have a debate with Shabir Ali about the Aisha age topic? By the way, when are your next debates and how can one watch it online? Debating Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, on the Islamic dilemma in January. After that, not sure. I don't know if Shabir Ali would be interested in debating that topic, but if you wanted to ask him about it, I accept. I would be happy to debate that topic. And I'd be interested. Guys, keep in mind, you look at the Muslim sources and it's all over the sources. How can you reject it? How can you reject 200 plus Sunni sources saying that she was 9? Well, you'd have to say you can, and it's not an insane position, but you have to say the sources are just such garbage and so unreliable that you can't even trust it when it says something like that. And so actually, you can actually respect that position. We don't know that Aisha was 9 because we don't know much of anything because the sources are so terrible. But yeah, I'd be happy to debate that. Let's see. Oh, what was that? I started writing the Zut book this afternoon. I'll keep you posted, but not in the Zut sense. Nice. All 4 counts, breathe in, keep in, release. No. So AP like the fava beans argument and a nice Chianti. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Reading Sword and Scimitar literally right now and just got to the burning of the Alexandria Library. That seems like a big deal. Why can't I find much info about that? We've talked about that. It's kind of, I don't know if Raymond has more info than we have, but I've always thought that was like there wasn't really good evidence for it. Like the major problems with the library happened before Christianity and Islam. It happened like Roman times and so on. There were tons of stuff was destroyed. And then it was just like smaller stuff later on. Anyway, last one. Follow up to previous question. I'm new to your channel. Glad to hear your YouTube is making it into Muslim regions. I thought perhaps you might get blocked in other countries. Grace and peace. Oh yeah, we do get blocked, but they like block specific videos. Like, we'll get messages saying this video has been blocked in Pakistan. That video has been blocked in Pakistan. But yeah, we do. You can go to YouTube analytics and see where people are watching videos and stuff. And yet tons of people are watching in Muslim countries and we hear from them after they leave Islam. So these are really, really, really cool times and we want to keep going and we want more people involved. All right, AP. Any final thoughts before we close out?
No.
Good. All right, everyone. I will catch everyone tomorrow. Robert Spencer has a new book out on.
I don't catch people because I'm not a creep.
That would be creepy. I'll be live tomorrow night with Robert Spencer because he has a new book out on Islam's impact on women.
Ooh.
And so we're going to check out. He's going to tell us about he's going to tell us about his book, and we'll definitely want to check out some of his findings. All right, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. And don't forget, we're having a huge New Year's Eve live stream. We're going to get everyone on, and they're going to share their predictions for 2026 and highlights, what they think are the highlights of 2025, because this has been a bad year for Dawah.
All right, man. It was good seeing y'all and being with y'all tonight. As always, God bless America, and God bless y'all, and all that. Yeah.
Peace out.
Thanks. Yeah.